What we do here is go back. What we do here is go back.
What is up, and how's everybody doing today? Welcome to Tuned In Live. If you guys have yet already done so, depending on what platform you guys are watching this on, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Hit that follow button down below if you are just now catching us on twitch.tv/arrow with a name and kick.com/arrow entertainment. Also, if you want to follow us on our social media page, our Twitter page, and if you are on Discord and you want to follow our Discord server, links for all that is down below. Also, and I keep forgetting to do it every episode, but we do have a sponsor. I've had a sponsor for a few months now, W Energy Drinks. Now, it's a powdered substance. It's energy powder. And it's basically advertised and sponsored by gamers on Twitch, Kick, and such. So we are a special sponsor for W Energy Drink. So if you guys want to check out their products, link for that should be down below, w.gg. If you go over there, enter, I believe it's coupon code ARROWWAN, and you'll save 10% on your purchase on any of their products over there as well. So welcome to the show, guys. Now, before I get into this, I want to do a special opening here for you guys. Take a listen to this. If you guys are fans of the Beatles, this is their brand new released song, Now and Then. You can find it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you can find it on Apple Music or any other platforms. This song was released a little over 2 weeks ago. This was an unreleased song from the Beatles. One of the very last songs that they did together with John Lennon and all. And it just now released to the public, so if you guys are big fans of the Beatles, you guys can go check that out. It's called Now and Then. The music video for it, however, will be a very tearful one for you guys. Very tearful. Because it's a bunch of random shots and videos done together, you know, put together, and everything is kind of CG'd and green screen in there. That's what I was trying to do, green screen into there. And it's a very lovely video. And for those of you who miss George Harrison and John Lennon, who passed away many, many years ago, it definitely will be a teary one for you guys. But it's a really good listen. You know, it's the last song that the Beatles did together, and you can even find that they got I think it's a 45 out. They got cassette tapes, and you can order that stuff online. I'm pretty sure you can find the record in stores anywhere. So I just figure I put that little tidbit in there for you guys. So if you guys are a fan of the Beatles, definitely check that out Now and Then. So let's do a couple announcements here. Let's do an announcement, channel announcement. So I don't know why I've never done this. I never understood why, because Tom, a friend of mine, you know, you all know him as CYPHER. You know, he's been on the show a few times. You know, we do the Utter Random Crap podcast together. You know, that was one of his original ideas from years ago, URC. And he put it together with a friend of his, Tim. We used to call him Dark Riddle here on the show. And the show has been on and off. You know, we resurrected a couple times, and then it kind of went into hiatus. But we recently resurrected it about a month and a half ago. And we've been doing it so very well. You know, it's been going on so good. And every Friday from 10 to noon, 10 a.m. to noon, or however late it runs, you guys can find Tom and I here, or one of us live with URC Podcast. And I never thought about, I was like, you know what? Why don't I just go ahead and just make him a part of the channel, you know? You know, he's a good friend of mine. Silva Surfa, it's too early. Time to go live, go to sleep. Yeah, I've been up since 6:30 this morning, man. Got the kids to school, went out, got gas for the car and stuff, came home. Oh, well, I got something to eat, came home, ate. And I go live and all. Just came in to say hello. Hey, what's up, man? But yeah, Tom is now considered, is 100% considered, you know, team member of Arrow Entertainment. You know, he still does his thing. He still has his channel, Cypher Xavier. You know, he still does his thing. He does his streams. He's doing it. I think he's starting to try to get back more and more back into it, since he has been, you know, these streams, these URC streams have been uploading to his and all. But I figured, you know, why not? You know, he you know, he's a good friend. I've known him for quite a while. Gotta go, man. Peace. All right, good seeing you there. Thank you for tuning in, man. You can check out the stream later on when it's finished uploading and all. But so now, Cypher, Tom is now a part of Arrow Entertainment, and anybody who coincides with him, you know, his wife, Tenchi, any guests like, you know, Loki, who runs his own channel, Gamer OD, or Loki Hardcore over there on Kick. So yeah, it's, you know, Arrow 10, it's wide open. It's blown wide open. So anybody who's part of it, you know, anybody who's been on the streams and such, you know, even my buddy Mike, you know, if anybody remembers Mike from the earlier podcasts, you know, and all, he was my co-host. Now he's taken a family life, and I'm very proud for him. I'm very glad for him. You know, he's a father now. He's married. You know, he's doing very good with life. You know, he's playing the role of dad. He's playing the husband role. You know, I've met him when he was single back in 2016. You know, through YouTube, and you know, he's been an integral part of anything that I've done, and he's been co-host on the show. You know, he's been here. He's been a good friend, you know, online and all. Glad to know him. Glad to be in his life. I'm glad to have him in my life. So, you know, Mike, you are still part of the channel no matter what, man. You know, whenever you come back, there will be a seat for you always. But yeah, Tom is now part of Arrow Entertainment. He probably doesn't know it yet. I told him yesterday. I met with him yesterday. I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and add you to the channel, make you part of the channel. You're a team member, you know, because he's here. He's on the show. We do URC and such. So Tom, you know, welcome. You know, well, he's always been welcome. You know, I guess I can pretty much say he's always been a part of Arrow Entertainment. And also, for fans of the Utter Random Crap podcast on Fridays, you can now catch the podcast live on 5 different platforms. Yes, I went to Tom's house yesterday. I set his whole Restream setup. You know, he is now a team member on Restream.io, which is a platform that I use to get our content out there to you. That's why you are watching us live right now on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch all at the same time. So we have different audiences tuning in. And Restream.io is definitely, it's really good. It's one of those starter sites, you know. And then now you got platforms like Streamlabs. Streamlabs is starting to do the same thing. I think StreamYards is doing it also, but I'm not a fan of StreamYards. I think it's fugazi. It's for drama communities that want it's like it's like a fucking great value of Zoom. That's all it is, you know, for drama communities. So I'm not using StreamYards for whatever reason, you know, for that reason. But yeah, a lot of platforms are starting to do that now, to where they're splitting the code to let your stream broadcast on multiple platforms at once. So what the hell just happened there? Apparently we got some technical difficulties. There we go. Oh, I see where it's at. Damn. That kind of scared me there for a minute. I'm like, who the hell is playing the stream? I was like, that kind of got me there. So, all right. So, yeah, that is what it is. Okay. All right. So, yeah, as I was saying, I guess I got a ghost in here with me. I've been to Gettysburg, so I know. But yeah, so with Restream.io, our streams do get sent out to multiple platforms at once. So yeah, like I said, right now we're live on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. But now, since Tom is a valid member of Arrow Entertainment, now you can catch Utter Random Crap on not only all of Arrow's channels, but also on CYPHER's channels. So now you can watch us live on CYPHER's YouTube, Twitch. You can watch us on our Twitch, our Kick, and our YouTube. I would have wanted to add it. I would have wanted to add Tom's Kick account on there, but unfortunately the subscription that I pay out only adds up to 5. So yeah, I pay out $20 a month. It's not a bad investment, you know. If you're a streamer and you're trying to gather a big audience from different platforms, it's worth it. You know, $20 a month. It's not a bad deal. Plus, you get cloud service on Restream. Let me see if I can find that site here real quick, because I do have it up. Yeah, you got, like, you know, there's a Black Friday sale going on there, but yeah, there's quite a few perks when it comes to Restream. Let's just say that. Now, if you want to try it out, you could try it out for free. No watermarks or anything. Well, the only thing, if you stream live to YouTube, you'll get a link to the Restream as its watermark, but you could change that over on YouTube at any time. You could change that to whatever you want. That's the only thing you get. But if you try out Restream for free, no subscription, you do get to stream on 2 platforms at once. On 2. So that's pretty nifty to know. So that's why, you know, like, whenever I went live, it was always on Twitch and YouTube. So now you guys know that. So if you guys want to try out Restream.io, link should be down below in the description section and all. So those are the big announcements. So now you will now be able to catch URC on 5 platforms starting tomorrow, whether I stream it or whether Tom streams it. Now, for the URC podcast, we have 2 layouts. You all are already familiar with the first layout of URC podcast. You know, that's Tom's handiwork. But then I did a re-up on one. I did a re-up on one. So I have my version of it, he has his version of it, and we can alternate back and forth, you know, between streams and stuff. You can always alternate depending on who's streaming it, you know? So I told him we're definitely going to keep his layout, his masterpiece, and I told him because it's unique, it's very unique. 2 goofy guys getting together on a podcast, you know, acting the way we are, so it's very unique. It's his image, and I know he says he doesn't just want it to be about him, it's our project, you know, resurrecting and all. I say, yeah, I understand, but I also like to have, you know, a little bit of him in there, you know, because it started out with him. He started it years ago. You know, I still consider it his baby, but yeah, we both came into agreement. You know, we both resurrected it. You know, so both of our ideas go into it. So I told him, you know, we're still going to use yours. We can also use the one I got, you know, depending. So it is what it is. You know, depending on who's streaming it when. You know, if Tom wants to set it up and stream it from his, he can. That's always cool. If he says, Mike, you go ahead and do it, I'm not going to set it up today, I can set it up and we can still stream it. So yeah, URC is definitely starting tomorrow. It's going to be on five different platforms. You guys will be able to check that out any which way you can. So if you guys want to follow Cypher on YouTube, if you want to follow him on Twitch, Kick, links are down below also. So let's get into today's first topic, the walking emoji. And I know this guy is listening in. He might be listening in. He might be listening after the fact. You know, he might be checking it out. He's like, "Oh, walking emoji, ha ha ha. That's gonna be about me." So we mentioned this guy. Oh, by the way, I am also in the general chat on Discord. So if you guys want to join in at any time, feel free to do so. If you're on Discord, you can hop on in, be a guest on the show or whatever. Links are down below, so if you guys want to join me, feel free to do so. But anyway, the walking emoji. We were talking about this guy for the past 2 weeks on URC. This is a guy that Tom and I know personally. Tom's known him for 23 years, I think it is, for the past 23 years. It's a long time, since around high school days. And this guy has a serious Napoleon complex issue. He has a serious stalking issue. He's not all right in the head. He's not. In fact, this is somebody who thinks he's so big and so famous. He looks at himself as like being that big guy on the top of the mountain, looking down on people, laughing at them, giving them the middle finger, telling them to go fuck themselves. You'll never be me. You'll never be up here with me. But wait, I got a contract set up. I'll call it the 23 network. I'll pick 23 of you guys per application, and you could join me on top of that mountain, and we could sit there throwing stones at those that are trying to climb up there with us. Yes, that is the mentality of this guy. 37 years old. Married for, I don't know, what, 14 years? And I reminded him, too. I said, hey, remember, if it wasn't for Tom, you wouldn't be with your wife. Oh, he mocked that bad. He mocked it pretty badly, too. But this guy, he has some serious fucking issues. I've known him for only 12 years. 12, 13 years. And I knew he had issues from the beginning. I knew it. You can't take this guy seriously. I never could. And this is somebody who's always looked at life in a serious tone, you know, like he'll have his little laughs, but he takes things too personal, too serious. So recently, well, let's jump back to Let's jump back to 2015. Now, I'm going to play you guys an excerpt from one of Tom's earlier podcasts from back then. And this is an interesting one. They did a podcast. They did a utter random crap. And it was from 2015. I want to say 2015, 2016. Yeah, it was about 2015. It was episode 2 of Utter Random Crap where they were talking about douchebags. And this guy was the highlight of the show. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you guys. Take a listen.
Never came, and it had to be done. Promised to do something for the...
Alright, I got to go back a little bit. I skipped ahead too much. Here we go.
So, I would call him a douchebag. Because that's really dangerous.
If you want to talk about douchebags, let's talk about the nickname Butterball Turkey.
Butterball
yes.
Turkey.
And Critter Tom.
What can I say about Butterball Turkey? I can't believe we're calling him Butterball Turkey.
So, the backstory on this. We had an incident yesterday where we're not going to give any names, hence why Butterball Turkey is being used.
Turkey.
Anyway,
Sorry, my fat sense was tingling. What?
This person promised to do something for those of us running the encoded site, and he never followed through on his promises.
That's
Which,
'cause he's a jackass.
I'm sure anybody that knows, you make a promise, don't make a promise if you can't keep it. It's not nice. So,
Oh, yeah.
understandably, we were all a little miffed that he wasn't keeping his promise. And apparently this upset said person, because it got to the point where even when he asked, hey, do you want to do this? The answer is no. At this point, we've done it ourselves because his help never came and it had to be done. We try to get content out to you guys as often as possible and in a timely fashion. And if that means that we have to not use somebody's help because they're not following through, then that's what we're going to do. So he was mad that we didn't want to include him, and he's willing to throw away 15 years of friendship because we're mad that he didn't uphold his end of the promise. And it's not even us that wants to throw away the friendship. We just said, no, we don't want to do this today. We don't want you to help with the site until you can promise you're gonna actually keep your promises to help. And that person, Butterball Turkey, is the one who threw in there, well, then I guess this friendship is over. And now it's become this whole big drama of calls and text messages
Tom
and
getting hungry.
emails about
Wonder if it's dark
throwing
turkey or
15
white
years of
turkey.
friendship away over childish bullshit. Those of us on the site, and it's Encoder that's been friends with this guy for 15 years.
And now wants turkey for some odd reason.
That's my boy Tom.
So really, it's
Turkey with gravy.
Turkey, why have you forsaken me?
so really, this only really involves him and Encoder. But
And for some odd reason, I got dragged in.
well, you've been friends with them almost as long, so.
True.
Welcome
I'm
to
not-
Team.
So yeah, there's
Did you
that.
put the turkey in the oven?
But
I think
that's
he
a
just
pretty
boiled.
that's a pretty douchebag move of him because he's at this point it's not even really funny anymore. It's harassment and it's stalking. If somebody is not answering your phone calls or your text messages or your emails, obviously they do not want to talk to your ass. And I think that's another thing. People that act like douches, they should honor that. If you don't want to talk to somebody, don't talk to them. Leave them alone.
Pretty much.
It's in the long run, it's just better. Don't drag it up.
I got news. Once you were dubbed a douche, you're a douche. There's really not much to say about that. You know, if you don't.
If you guys want to listen to the rest of that podcast, I will put it down in the link down in the description section later on for you guys. So that is CYPHER's episode of Utter Random Crap number 2, Douchebag. So that guy that they're talking about, Butterball Turkey, that's the guy I'm talking about today. The guy who cannot take a joke. The guy who takes shit too goddamn seriously, man. Butterball Turkey. So, to recap what Tenchi was saying in that episode, he wanted to be part of their team back in 2015. You know, I had an older channel back then. I was doing video content on there, on mine, and I did a few things with them. I collaborate with them too. You know, they were friends of mine. I went to school with Tenchi, and it was a small world to find out that Tenchi was married to Tom, because I met Tom through where I used to work at. So that's pretty cool. But Butterball Turkey, I'm just gonna come out and say his name, Dan. Yeah, Danny Boy. Fuck it, DT Danny Boy. He already knows we're talking about, so fuck it. So Dan wanted to be part of this, but he never contributed to any of it. And at the time, because everybody knows Tom has some medical issues with his back, and even around that time, it was kind of difficult for him to get positioned or get set up to do something because of the way his back was. So they had to pick a certain day where he could actually prep himself to be able to do something. That's like whenever I went over to his house, you know, and we planned something and I was there. That way he could be prepped and ready to do something rather than just sit there and not have anything, you know, not be able to do anything, not have something to do because somebody didn't show up. But Dan, he told him, I'll be there. I'll be there. He never materialized. And they kept waiting. They were asking. They were no text messages, no calls, nothing. He left them to do the shows, you know, as they were. Then after they've done them and had everything done, Dan would material. Well, are you ready to do the show? Are you ready to do this? No, we've already done it. We did it without you because you didn't tell us that you were going to be late or you weren't going to show up, And this pissed him off. This pissed him off royally to the point where he took it too serious. He started acting like a big fucking crybaby over it and decided, well, fuck y'all. I guess you don't want me to be your I don't guess y'all could consider me your friend and shit. So what does he do? He steps out of he steps away, but then he starts stalking them at their house. He starts to stalk them. He starts to do stalkerish fucking things like show up on their front yard or hide in their bushes and shit, wait for them to come home for whatever odd reason. Even Tom still has a picture of a bag that Dan left in his bushes. Like, this guy is leaving shit in his yard without even showing up to say, hey, what's up? Like, Dan would fucking stalk the fuck out of him. I think they got a protective order against him at one point or something. I can't remember, but there was a time where he did disappear, you know, and nobody heard anything from him. I guess he moved out of the area or whatever. But this guy, Dan, this is the shit that he does. He's a full-grown man. He's our fucking age. Tom and I are both 37. This is a full-grown fucking man. He takes things too serious, and then he's a fucking stalker. This is somebody who will probably show up at your house and shoot you. If granted the fucking permission to do so, you know? But Dan, even though at the time, and even today, we still consider this a hobby and all, and we're actually getting somewhere with it, we're actually building an audience with our shows, our podcasts, if it's something you want to be a part of, be there. Be there. If not, you know, don't be there. It's teamwork. For example, my buddy Jeff, when he had his show, it was called Triggered at one point. His live show has changed names over the past years and all, but you know, he used to have his show used to be called Triggered. It was over there. It was actually on YouTube. He started on YouTube, and he had this young kid on there who was like 16, 17. His name is Jeff Tutorial. I've always talked about him. He's a fucking scam artist. GTA 5, GTA Online scam artist. Yes, he was a part of the show, but Jeff didn't realize how young he was. But this kid, you know, he ran some of the tech stuff for the show, but then there was times where he wouldn't show up. He wouldn't be there. He wouldn't contribute sometimes, you know, and Jeff would be like, where the fuck is this guy at? Where the hell is he at? He's supposed to be here. He said he was going to be here. But this guy, you know, he took shit too personal too when Jeff kicked him off the show, and because Jeff was like, I didn't know he was under 18. If I'd known that, I would have kicked his ass off long ago. But then this kid, he started stalking him too online and, doing some real stupid, shady shit and all. But this is who Dan reminds me of. This is what he reminds me of. It is sad, and it's saddening and sickening that there's people out there like that. Especially somebody like Dan, who wanted to throw away years of friendship because he was too incompetent for something. He could have reached out to Tom and his wife and said, hey, look, I'm unable to do this. I'm sorry. Can we do it another time? They would have understood. But when you don't call up or don't show up or don't call or don't call or anything, you're a no call, no show. They had to do it without you. And it was one too many times there, Dan. That's why they severed ties with you back in 2015. So now fast forward to 2 weeks ago. That's when Tom went live with me on URC. And he wasn't going to really tell me much. Well, he gave me a little spoiler, before the show. He was like, man, I'm already pissed off, and I'm going to save it for the show. I said, oh shit, this should be good. And that's when he came out and said that Dan hit him up on Facebook. They follow each other on Facebook and Instagram and all. But when Tom said that Dan had posted something on his Facebook talking about, basically saying that friends that he's had for so many years that has never had his back, that's never backed him up, never there for him and such, he's decided that he's going to keep a certain group of friends and give it a network name, but he wants them to fill out an application to be part of that group. So he basically slapped Tom in the face with that. He's like, years of, oh shit, he just subscribed with Prime for 12 months. The CYPHER is here with us on Twitch. What's going on, man? But yeah, so Tom, I got Discord open, by the way, also, if you ever want to join in. Where is he at? Oh, he's over his channel. Oh, you must be doing something on your own. Okay. I didn't know. I'm over here on Arrow. But yeah, I also did announce, Tom, that I do consider you a part of Arrow Entertainment finally, officially, because you are here, you always hop in, we've done game streams and all, so you are part of it. Join the dark side. I've just now seen that pop up over on my PC there. So yeah, this Operation Butterball Turkey here, like I said, I'm going to go all out and be like, hey, Dan, because he already knows we're talking about him, so fuck him. So Dan hits him, he puts all this stuff on his Facebook, and he's like, I'm taking applications for this. It's a slap in the face to Tom. And then he even did a couple videos that we watched after the podcast that pissed Tom off even more. Basically, I forgot what it was, but it was there was something that Dan said in his video, and it was a twist of words of somebody who Tom was friends with for so many years and had passed away within the last couple of years, and that was the more fuel to the fire. Speaking of which, we got the man live with us now.
How goes it?
Man, it sounds like you're in pain.
Yeah, I had a really bad night. My diabetes decided to crash on me.
Oh, shit.
My blood sugar was like 64 this morning, so I'm in rough shape. I was working on the URC stuff for my laptop. That's where I'm talking to you from now.
Oh, okay.
I was changing the background. That's what I was doing when you saw me in Discord. I was trying to tweak stuff in it because the one from bed is now called the Tom Stuck in Bed edition. I actually have it on there where it says Tom Stuck in Bed edition.
Nice. Yeah, I did state earlier, I don't know if how early you tuned in, but I did say when it comes to URC, depending on which of us streams it, we'll still use your setup because, like I said, your setup, your layout is unique for two guys goofing off on the show, and I know you put some work into it and all. I was like, you know what, we're going to keep that. That way, if you end up wanting to stream it at times, you know, we can go with that. And then I showed you the layup that I set up last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to find your one encoder Tom emoji, your avatar, and I was like, oh, damn, it's not in the folder. I did find Fat Squatch, so I was like, I want to add a couple more in there. But I'll still work it, where I add a couple of things in there with that. But yeah, it's, because I cleaned it up a little bit, I figure, like, you guys will probably see that tomorrow. I'll probably stream it tomorrow from my setup. And there's times if Tom wants to set up and do something, you guys will see that layout as well. So we're going to have two different layouts for Utter Random Crap. It's a unique podcast. We're both running it. We both resurrected it together. So it's going to be unique. So we're going to have a hell of a show for you guys tomorrow. But I figured today I would put the final nail in the coffin of the walking emoji. That's what I call them. So I did play an excerpt from Utter Random Crap number 2, and that was where Tenchi was talking about Butterball Turkey and what happened back in 2015 when, you guys formed your project together and he wanted to be part of it, but he was always a no-call, no-show with it. And that led up to him, kind of stalking and harassing you guys, there for a little while. And
when you get a chance, check your messages on X. I'm showing you what I did for the background for the Tom Stuck in Bed edition of URC.
I'm pulling it up now. Let's see.
It's loading in. Give it a sec.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, I'll wait for that to pop in over there.
It popped it over here for me, so...
Okay. Send a video. Oh, I see it.
Okay, we're testing the Tom Stuck in Bed edition of Random Crap. I gotta figure out the echo that I'm hearing from it, though, because I don't know what's going on.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Oh, man, I can see you're in pain with that. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I am right now.
So, yeah, guys, I now have him set up. He has a laptop. I put his stuff on there. I helped him out with that yesterday. So now, if he don't feel like getting out of bed or if he's stuck in bed or whatever, he can still make it to the show.
That's right.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, with that being said and all, so I figure, today, since he already knows we're talking about him, I'm just coming out and being like, hey, Dan. Dan. So I'm pretty sure he'll check it out. His favorite show. He wants to be on the show. And that's one funny thing before I continue, guys. So one of his messages, and Jeff has taken time out of his day to troll him a little bit, but Dan keeps messaging him. He's like real stalkerish with Jeff right now. He found himself a fucking love toy. And Dan's like, well, we gotta check. I was like, first of all, who's we? It's just you. It's just you, dude. He has all these so-called businesses that he works for, and it's all him. It's all fucking him. Like, if you take a look, Tom, I'll tell you later on, with the screenshot on the or you could probably already tell by looking at it with the laugh emoji, the screenshot of the video on YouTube. But yeah, it's all him. Like, there's nobody else a part of his game. He's sitting there, we have to schedule to come on your podcast. Like, first of all, you don't have to schedule shit because you ain't coming on the show, period. We've already told you, fuck you.
Well, here's some words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Stop the hate, spread the love. Nobody ever deserves that pain and harmony.
I was born a poor black child.
I'm sorry, I had to because I'm here.
What's a show without some reactions like that? Soundboard.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Dan, he wanted to be a part of the show to tell the truth, his side of the truth, because we were lying about it. But then it's like, when Jeff called him out on his bullshit, he even admitted to it. Even though he tried to lie about it and say, "Oh, I didn't say that. I didn't say that." And then Jeff called. He's like, "Oh, actually, I did say that, but I didn't mean this. I was joking." I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, who are you trying to fool, dude?
I love how he's trying to say it was a joke, right?
Yeah,
Never anywhere in the message did it say it was a joke, like at the end of it or anything.
exactly.
Like, if I was joking with you, right, I would write this big scathing paragraph to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the very end, it would say, "Oh, by the way, I'm just fucking with you." Know what I mean?
Yeah,
There
exactly.
was nothing like that, so there's no way in hell it was a joke.
Yeah, he was serious. He was dead serious on this shit.
And if you watched his streams, right,
Mm-hmm.
his streams were about it, so it was dead serious.
They were. He had all these fucking streams set up, and they were all on his Facebook, of course. You know, he has all these streams, and I'm going to show you the guys the microphone tomorrow. We're going to be on cam tomorrow.
And what bugs me is, right, you're the one who's laid into him, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah,
But yet he's pissed at both of us simply because I told him to go fuck himself.
yeah. And then he had the nerve to bring your wife
Because
into it.
I responded to his message.
Mm-hmm.
How did you think I was going to respond? Seriously.
Exactly.
How am I going to respond, right? I ain't being told this is a joke or nothing. I still don't believe it's a joke.
It's
okay?
not.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm reading this, and it's like after 23 years of friendship, ironically, he calls the thing to 23.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he wrote a thing about, after 23 years of friendship, we're going down the drain. It's like he's the one who did it.
Yeah.
Did he not expect me to get hostile?
Yeah, because when you do...
Seriously.
Yeah, because when you do and say stupid shit, there are going to be repercussions for it, you know, and a lot of times when somebody says some stupid shit like that, and it affects a friend who you're basically addressing it to, in a sense...
Right.
Like, they're not going to take it as a joke. You know, you're not joking about it. You're not laughing about it. You're being... Because this guy, he is so dead serious on everything that he says. He takes shit too fucking personal. Like, his quote-unquote podcast, guys, he has no podcast. His podcast consists of videos that are 20 fucking seconds long. And the one video he did, and he's got it on Rumble... And I'm looking at Rumble, even though Rumble is a lot more open than YouTube is, I'm not going to use Rumble because even Tom told me that Rumble, it basically sucks. So this is what he uses for his content. So he puts a video and he puts a screenshot of our URC, our episode of URC from a week or two ago on there. And I thanked him. I was like, thank you for the shout out. God damn, you're going to give us attention. You're going to bring us an audience. They're like, hey, look, these guys are exposing him. What the fuck? So then he's going to leak text messages between him and Tom's wife. And just basically putting her name into it because, you know, her name was at the top and all. So you're going to include something with his wife in it, even though I'm the one mainly talking about your ass, and Tom basically told you to go fuck yourself.
Everything I said about what he was doing was common sense.
Yeah.
I was not originally mocking him. I did not mock him until we did the Execute Order 23 episode.
Yeah.
Because at that point, he asked for it.
He did. And he got a fucking ass lashing from it too, especially from my boy Jeff. And I'm going to read a couple of messages for you guys. But before I do that, I keep forgetting to put the link in the Discord for Jeff and them, because I know Jeff he usually hops in once in a while to say hi when he's at work and all. So okay, so let me pull this up here. So this is a message between Jeff and Dan, Mr. DT himself, and it's not the full disclose. It's not the full discussion. He only sends me screenshots, and it's fucking hilarious. So this one message says, "You're obsessed with Mike. That's sad, dude." Then Dan's like, "Good luck with that one. He's actually doing it himself." And just like, LOL, you should just move on. You're obsessed. And then Dan's like, you guys are on my page, so who's obsessed? Jeff goes, but he's all you talk about. He's your whole world. And then the next message shows DT unsent a message. And then Jeff said that's what he's always been doing. He would send messages and he would unsend them. So then Jeff's like, why do you always unsend messages? And the Dan's like, again, you're on my page? Good luck with that. Just making me shine brighter. Thanks. So then Jeff looked at his Rumble page. His he has 0 followers on there, right? He's got like 4 or 5 videos on there. And Jeff's like, yeah, I could tell from your 1 view you get, LOL. And then the next one was, let's see. Okay. And then Dan's like, keep making up things as you go. And Jeff's like, okay. And then Dan's like, you guys talk so much that you forgot how to walk too. And Jeff's like, that makes a lot of sense.
Of course, we know what he meant is, walk to walk, talk to talk.
Yeah, but when he types out things and says things, he sounds like a complete moron with it. It was just like, yeah.
But one thing we do know about me is not only will I walk to walk, I'll talk to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And he knows that flat out firsthand.
Yep. There was another message that he sent me. Now, mind you, Jeff is trying to get this guy to go the fuck away, right? He has told this guy in these messages, they're Facebook messages, he's told him several times, dude, go the fuck away, goodbye. So Jeff asked him, why do you keep messaging me? And Dan's like, because I asked a question on why you guys are stalking me. And Jeff's like, bro, stop stalking me. And then Dan's like, get off my Facebook. First of all, Dan, your Facebook page is public. It's a public forum. If you don't want people to look at your page, you can either simply block them, or now you go into your settings and you can set it up to where only people can see certain things when it's public. So if somebody's not following you, if somebody's not friending you, they can't see certain posts that only your followers and friends can see. There's options there. Your Facebook is a public forum, just like YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, whatever you are on, it's a public forum. If you do not want people to read your shit, hide your shit. That's why with X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, you could private your profile. Nobody can read what the fuck you have unless they're your friend. And then you can even set it up to where you don't accept friend requests or follows. It's as simple as that. So Jeff took a screenshot of his Rumble, his Rumble account. It says 1 view 4 months ago. And Jeff's like, LOL, 1 view in 4 months. Yes, man, you're pretty famous. Dan's like, maybe you need to get some facts right. You're making yourself look a fool. And then Jeff actually corrected him on how he spelled your. It's basically YOURE. So
grammar, thou art a heartless bitch.
So apparently Dan doesn't know anything about grammar. So did he even graduate high school? I can't remember if you said he did or not.
I honestly don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah. He sounds like he has never graduated or even gone back to get a GED or anything. And yet
but to be fair, most people that went to my high school do talk and sound like that. So
yeah, I've sadly known
he might have graduated.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know.
My school was not the greatest.
Yeah, somebody who graduated my school, actually, she doesn't know how to fucking spell or word anything. She is actually the literal female version of Hubbard. Like, when you read what Hubbard writes, this is how this girl writes. She graduated with us. Mel knows her personally. And she'd be like, she would read stuff from Hubbard. She'd be like, I don't know who's worse, Hubbard or this girl.
Let me put it this way. No Child Left Behind was a bullshit thing.
Tell me about it.
And I'm not doing it to be mean. It's the fact that you used to be, if you couldn't do certain skills, you got held back until you learned those skills.
Exactly.
They don't do that now.
Exactly.
Because they make more money to push you into the next grade.
Yeah, and then they don't learn anything. So then when they graduate, what's 2 plus 2? Stop asking me stupid questions.
And I have ADHD, or ADD is what it was called when I was diagnosed with it. I don't have the hyper part.
Yeah.
So even though I may know how to spell things, occasionally I'll get things confused in my head, and then I'll spell them how they sound.
Yeah.
But that's a part of ADD. It's not the fact I don't know how to spell it. It's part of ADD is being forgetful. So
yeah.
I can forget how to spell the simplest word sometimes.
That's how I am.
And then hours later I'll go, fuck! I spelt it wrong. You know what I mean?
I almost think I have it myself, even though I've never really been diagnosed with it, but I feel the same way. Like, I'll forget to spell certain words, and I'll have to, like, fucking Google them just to make sure I spelled it right.
Well, our language is so confusing. Like, when you say the word shore, are you talking about the seashore? Or are you talking about the word as in you're sure on something?
Yeah.
So it's like, we have so many words that sound alike, have different meanings, that it's so confusing sometimes.
It is. Oh, here's what I was talking about earlier, guys. So, Dan put a Facebook page up. This was like earlier this week, it was like earlier this week or late last week.
God, I know. Getting a dose of CYPHER before URC. What is going on with this week?
Hey, it's good.
Right?
I mean, you are a part of Arrow Entertainment, so hey, why not?
I know, but when people hear me, they're probably thinking, "Is this URC?"
Not quite yet. The fun begins tomorrow. This is the pre.
Fun begins. Yeah.
This is the pre-fun.
Yeah.
So this was Jeff sent me this a few days ago. He took a screenshot of this guy's Facebook post and comment section. So he labels out my name and he's like, "Thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, I appreciate your doubts and assumptions. If you need anything or questions answered." So he puts a question mark at the end of sentences that don't need a question mark. So it's basically, if you need anything or questions answered, we ask you to reach out to schedule us to come on your podcast so we can discuss the statements and accusations that you made. We have
words of wisdom. What do you have to give us now?
No, you let me listen now.
Thanks, Hubbard.
What else do you have to say?
Seriously think you're gayer than a $2 bill?
Well, I think that will cover Dan now, the way he's been acting.
100%.
Damn right.
Well, thank you, Hubbard.
Yeah. We have the right to speak about those accusations. What accusations, Dan? You were posting the shit on your page. You were saying the shit in your videos.
The accusations that you sound like a cult? Yeah, you can go ahead and try to explain how you're not a cult.
Uh-huh.
But the way your business sounds, it doesn't sound any different than an Amway thing or a pyramid scheme.
Exactly. And then he's like,
call it the 23, call it whatever you want. I've heard the spiel before.
The New Era Network. Then he posts,
taste the biscuit.
Yeah.
Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
I can see you trying to dance to that right now.
How did you know?
Yep. Even in bed, you'll be dancing to that shit.
Yes, I will. You forget it, and I don't care how much it hurts.
There you go. Just gotta have some fun. So then he posts, if not, that's fine too. Because the more you say just inflates my ego even more, but with pure intentions. Dude, your fucking ego is too overinflated. Anything that I say and do is not, it's not inflating your ego. You're still looking stupid. Just like, we're sitting here, it's like, okay, we expose the fuck out of you, dude. We expose the fuck out of the things you said and done. Even that excerpt that I played from URC, God, 8 years ago. Holy shit. 8 years ago.
Are we talking about Butterball?
Yeah.
It makes me hungry.
I was listening. I heard you on there. You were like, turkey. and Tim's like,
back in my Encoder Tom days, I don't know why I ever went with that stupid name.
Yeah, Tim was like, turkey with gravy. And you're like, why have you forsaken me?
I should have just went by Cypher back then, because I was already Cypher back then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess I just tried to go with the name of the channel at the time.
Yeah.
100%.
So
I'm tweeting my Twitter.
I'm sure he is.
I tweet my Twitter! I'm fucking my face! I'm tweeting my Twitter!
That almost sounds like Dan.
Oh, God.
So this guy, he posts this stuff on Rumble. He's putting up screenshots of these messages that I'm sending him, you know, basically telling him off and shit. And it's like, what are you proving? You're proving something I've already proved. This is the exact. I tell you, this is the literal exact shit that Hubbard used to do back in 2017 when he would prove the proof. He would prove the proof by posting a fucking video of some random screenshot that makes no sense, that's not targeted to him, while playing some dumbass music, and it would be like 10 seconds long.
United together, we take a huge shit.
Yeah! Well, mine, when I take one, it usually feels like it's united together.
Oh, Lord.
But I tell you, he's the literal exact, it's like a doppelganger of Hubbard. That's what this guy is, his grammar. I'm surprised his spelling isn't all over the place the way Hubbard's is.
Trust and believe that.
But it's sad, like, everything that he has said and done and we've exposed, and he's saying we're spewing out accusations. Like, dude, it's all out there. Like, your wife may look at it as accusations. You may look at it as, like, accusations. But if you're trying to be some big star online, you're way at the bottom, dude.
You retarded motherfucker.
Hey, there, that goes again. Okay, so no, it's like I got the stream playing on one end and it just like unmutes itself for whatever reason. Like, what the fuck? Because I heard myself, I was like, where the hell's that coming from? But like, Dan, you're way at the bottom of the barrel, dude. You don't even know how a podcast is formulated. You don't even know the steps of you don't know how to become a podcaster. Like, I've watched podcasts, I've listened to podcasts, I've taken note from me doing YouTube since 2015. Like, even looking into a camera, like, that's the hardest thing for a lot of people because they don't like looking at themselves. They don't like listening to themselves, like with the voice. But I've gotten so used to doing that, and also it's helped me build a vocabulary. It's helped me express myself a lot more. And plus, I could just go with the flow. I'm saying random things. I could be sitting here saying, shit ass cock motherfucker, Dan, fuck you, bitch boy, 100%, take a shit and die, and I would still be rolling with it. No, I'm not up.
Big dummy.
Yeah, thanks. No, I'm not up there with like an auctioneer with how fast they talk. Yeah, I can talk fast, but I also can get a point across. So it's like I can keep a show rolling. We talk about different things. This is what a podcast is considered. It's what it's called. This show you're listening to right now, Tune In Live. Tomorrow we got Utter Random Crap, where we talk about randomly other random shit. So that's how the podcast is. His idea of a podcast is a 20-second video, basically saying, I'm just shining brighter. You're making me look good. I'm like, I ain't making you look like shit. Like, here you are, Dan. I stopped I stopped commenting on his shit 2 days ago. And I put the I put the metaphoric nail in his coffin on one of his videos.
Suicide was fake, bro.
He would say something like that too. I put the last metaphoric nail in his coffin. I posted something on his one video on Rumble. I haven't been back to it since. And with the account that I have on there still, I got like 2 or 3 emails stating that he commented back. He put like 2 or 3 comments on it or some shit. And I'm like, is what it is. I'm not going to respond to it. I'm not going to look at it. I'm done with him now. Like, I did my thing. So then Jeff, he's telling me, Jeff blocked him at one point. And then I think just a few hours later, Jeff unblocked him just for the fuck of it. As soon as Jeff unblocked him, he messages Jeff. Like, oh my god, he is fucking monitoring that shit. Dan is so stalkerish, he's waiting for Jeff to unblock him. He was literally waiting for him to unblock him, and then he messaged him, and Jeff's like, why do you keep fucking messaging me? Go away, you stalker. Oh, you're on my Facebook. You're looking at my Facebook. Your Facebook is a public forum, dumbass. Anybody can view that shit.
And his Instagram's technically a porno.
Yeah. I could look up, okay, I'm on Facebook right now. And in my search results, yes, I got Edward James Hubbard. Everybody knows what his fucking name is, okay? His stuff is wide open, so I can sit here and scroll through his Facebook. I'm not on it 24/7 like Dan is with some things. Holy shit, Hubbard had he calls it rice meat. Oh my god. He calls it rice meat. Jeff, where the fuck you at? I gotta take a screenshot of this. So
wait, what? Rice meat?
Oh, you gotta see this. So my ex, and I've even cooked this concoction before. It's really fucking good. I'm gonna post this in the. I'm just gonna post it right here in Discord on our main page right here. So I've cooked, and my ex have cooked hamburger, ground meat, or ground beef, and mixed it with white rice. And let me tell you, that shit is a good combination. It is. It's a very good combination. He calls it rice meat.
Oh dear Lord.
I just call it hamburger with rice or rice with hamburger. He calls it rice meat.
What would you call the thing that I made where I made wild rice, right? Fried up some chicken, or like grilled it up.
Mm-hmm.
Then put fajita mix in with it, fried up the fajita mix, and put it on top of the rice. What would you call that?
Well, for one, I call it a meal, but I don't know. I don't know what I would call it, but it sounds something like a Mexican dish.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would call it.
Yeah, it's a
I have a feeling Hubbard would call it chicken, rice, meat, clusterfuck. You know what I mean?
But he calls his shit rice meat. Oh my god, where's Discord? Alright, let's see, where's it at here? Let me go up here. Let me click on the main. Did I put it in there? Where the fuck did I put it at? Oh, I put it in self-promotion. God damn it! I didn't want to put it in self-promotion.
Otherwise, I don't know why he wouldn't have just called it beef and rice.
Yeah. That's a good name for it too. Beef and rice. Yes.
Yeah, beef and rice, something like that.
Let's see, I'll put it right in here.
But like mine, you could have called it chicken fajita on rice. You know what I mean, or something like that.
There you go.
You know, but he would have called it some type of clusterfuck name.
Mm-hmm. I'm also gonna message this to Jeff. He's gonna love this shit. He gonna fucking love it. Let's see.
I find it funny when I check my X account under who to follow, it actually brings up Hubbard.
Rice meat.
I believe I only really follow like 42 things on here.
Yeah.
Right? One of them is, Jeff. One of them's you.
Okay.
The other one's like Loki, and then other things are like video game companies. So, how out of all of this does it come up with the idea for me to follow Hubbard?
I know. That's done it to me too. Like certain people, it will do that. I don't know why it would bring up certain people.
Like I just unclick something, right, and it brings up who to follow all of a sudden, right?
Mm-hmm.
One is activation, one's an old roommate of mine, and the last one on there, Edward James Hubbard.
Shit. But yeah, like, do I call that stalking? Like, Jeff and I.
Oh my god! Conspiracy.
That is a conspiracy.
Do you know what his @ name is on Twitter?
Oh, I forgot what it was.
B Report 23.
I gotta see this shit.
I kid you not.
Oh my god, I gotta fucking see this shit.
Where's the damn X-Files music?
Yes! I gotta add that as a sound effect. God damn it.
Oh my god, seriously, look at this. Look at this thing on X. Oh my god.
B Report 23.
You know what sticks out to me, right?
23. Oh my Christ.
Holy shit! It's everywhere.
Oh my god. So, I'm scrolling down, and I see he's trying to say the word, he's trying to write out the word welfare, but he spelled it W-A-L-F-E-R. Wolfer. Wolfer. It's welfare. Wolfer. I'm sorry. I'm
How about his poll for Boogie 3298?
Damn.
And I love the poll on it. 10% said yes, 90% said no. Would you think me and Boogie could work together? 90% said no. And he typed in underneath that, darn, that quick. LOL, okay, I know where this going.
Because he wrote, they're, well, it's supposed to be T-H-E-I-R, but it's T-H-E-R-E. They're both on Wolfer and don't care at it free. Yeah, at it free money for them. They're happy as can be. I swear, it's almost like he writes just as Dan talks.
I have a feeling when he wants waffles, he writes welfare.
Can I get some welfare with some syrup on it and shit? Wolfer.
I'm not exactly the most loved on X anyway. I only have 3 followers.
Damn.
Which is Haggy, you, and Loki.
Yeah.
It's the only 3 I need.
I just told Jeff, he's like, I gotta see this. Is this Facebook? I said, it's on his Twitter.
What, about the 23?
Yeah. Oh my god. I told I'm fucking dead. I'm live with you right now talking about it.
There's no way in hell I could ever take the 23 serious now.
Because Hubbard's attached to it. You know what? If I didn't care that any of his trolls, which are my trolls, if I didn't care about any of them coming at me or whatever because I come out of the woodwork and say something to him, I would probably say, yeah, I'll be on that Wolfer too. God damn, I gotta clip this for him. Like, no, what I should do, I should be like, hey, I
like my Wolfer with syrup.
Hubbard, I have an idea for you, okay? There is a guy that I'm talking about. His name is Dan, and he's got a cult club. He's got a club. There's Jeff. He's over there on YouTube. There he is.
There he is.
I gotta say, hey, Hubbard, there is a club. It's called the 23 Network. You could be his #1 applicant. He's looking for people like you, Hubbard, who could spell welfare as W-A-L-F-E-R, Wolfer. Jeff, have you ever been on Wolfer? What the fuck is Wolfer? That is something brand new. You know what? That's got to be a slogan. I'm on Wolfer.
Put that on a t-shirt.
You know what? I'm fucking curious. I'm just so. Anytime I hear a new word, I have to go to the Urban Dictionary. Jeff's like, yes, all my life. I want to see. Okay. Oh my god. So Wolfer is a word. I
use it to buy rice meat. I don't care how much it hurts. That's funny.
I do gotta say, man, like, I've had ground beef mixed with rice like that. It's damn good. I love that. But I don't call it rice meat.
We should put that on a t-shirt, too.
Yes, rice meat.
Rice meat.
So hold on to your asses for this. Welfare is a word. Like, I know he's talking about welfare, but you put the wrong word in there. And welfare in a child who is a very good and intelligent. Okay, who is very good and intelligent, is very naughty, and laughs to all the girls he is very, but very handsome, and is very affectionate. All would like to be with him, but only a pretty girl can be. Who the fuck wrote this? Walfer is. I want to know who the hell the author of this is. I gotta put this in Discord. All right, Jeff, I'm gonna text this to you. This is exactly how I am reading it. Walfer, in a child who is very good and intelligent, is very naughty, and laughs to all the girls. He is very, but very handsome, and is very affectionate. This has to be the work of Hubbard. I shit you not. That's exactly how it's fucking written. No punctuation in there. It was made by High Tags, April 11th, 2018. I'm fucking curious. Like, okay, that's the only thing from that author. Now I'm calling it Arthur. Jesus Christ, that's what fucking Hubbard would call author. Chris, I'm going fucking Hubbard now. Hubbard used to call book authors authors. Who's this Arthur? Jesus Christ. I swear. Dan must know who Hubbard is. He must have taken notes from him. He must have said, hey, is your name Hubbard? No, it's Hubbard. My name is Hubbard. I don't know. Maybe that's how Dan would pronounce his name. Have you ever heard of Edward Hubbard? Oh, you mean Hubbard? No, Hubbard. Jesus Christ. Oh, we went from talking about one peanut head to another. So, Hubbard, how do you absolutely love your rice meat? You gotta tell me, do you love your rice meat?
Trust and believe that.
So you do love your rice meat?
100%.
Okay. Hubbard, are you on Walfer?
100%.
So it is confirmed Hubbard is on Walfer, and he eats rice meat. Jeff, there's our slogan for there's our quote for the day, man. Jesus Christ. So, I'm going to move my way back real quick to put the final nail in Dan's coffin. Because this guy, it's almost like there's a lot to talk about with this guy. But then again, it's like, you know, we've talked about him for the last couple weeks. Jeff's had his fun with him. And Jeff's proven that this guy, he is so fucking stalkerish. Like, he can't get to me because I have him I got 2 Facebook accounts. I got him blocked on both. You got him blocked on Facebook and Instagram. But Tenchi hasn't. I don't think Tenchi get on Facebook much, I guess. So, Dan, he commented on their post because, you know, Tom and Tenchi, they just celebrated their wedding anniversary the other day. So once again, congratulations to them on that. And Dan commented, congratulations on this. Like, oh, now you want to suck somebody's ass, huh? Yeah, after everything you have fucking said, Dan, everything that you have posted, even getting Tenchi involved in a sense. Oh, I'm pretty sure, like, Tenchi had, well, I assume she's been working a lot. So she's been, you said that she's been meaning to write him a note or a letter, you know, about all that, and then completely blocking him from that.
Very much.
Yeah. So it's like, Dan, you pissed off the people who has tried to be there for you. You know, you've lost some good friends over your actions. Me, I'm dummy. Yes, you are, man. Dan, you're a big dummy. Listen to Fred. You have lost your friends over your stupidity. And then you try to retract it, and then you try kissing ass, but it's too late, dude. And then, once again, you're stalking people. So, another sad note, okay? Sadly, and this is not his wife's fault. This is not his wife's fault. This motherfucker bred. So this motherfucker was allowed to breed. He has a son. So rather than... I feel sorry for his son and wife. Like, this guy, his whole world should be his son and his wife. You know, I have kids of my own. I tend to my children. I tend to my family. I also have my hobbies. You know, I still, I play games with my friends. I hang out with my friends too. You know, but it's about moderating and managing your life. You got to find a balance in there. Like, I work at nights. During the morning time, I come home from work. I get some sleep. I wake up. I'm either doing things with, the family. I'm doing things around the house. And that's why, I usually limit my streams to now Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings, because my significant other's at work, kids are at school, and if all my chores are done, if I get done what I need to get done, I get on here, I'll stream a game, I'll do a podcast, and that's that. I still keep the channels alive and all. We still do our projects. But Dan seems to be so infused in not only stalking other grown adults, but God knows what else. He claims to have all these businesses, but when you look up all these businesses, it's all him. It's all him. Like, okay, his one business, I'm not going to put his last name out there, we'll just say Blank Industries LLC. I looked it up. It's his home address.
Even though I have the right to put his full name out there now because he put my wife's out there.
Yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and do that, because I don't give a fuck. It's on here, so why not? Hagen.
Yeah, Daniel Thomas Hagen.
Yeah, Hagen Industries, LLC. When I put Hagen Industries, LLC into a search engine, it's his house. I don't know if he still lives there, but that's the house he's lived in. Like, I would expect some building, some office building, if you actually have some kind of business you're running. No, it's his fucking house. So all these fucking companies that he talks about selling paintings. He looks like the kind of guy who would draw a stick figure, and only somebody who's on crack would probably buy it. This guy is taking like pictures from the internet, claiming them to be his, and trying to sell them as paintings. Like, that's what the hell do you call that word? It's when you're copying somebody else's work and try to make it your own. I forgot what that word was.
You mean plagiarizing?
That's it. Thank you. That's my vocabulary is starting to dissipate from me a little bit, but I'm getting it back. Dan, when you grab somebody else's artwork, claim it as your own to sell it for your benefit, that's plagiarism. You're plagiarizing somebody. And if you, let's say you try to claim that you painted the Screaming Man, an iconic piece of art, and you said, no, this is signed by Daniel Hagen. I'm selling this for $500. Dude, there will be lawsuits on your ass. There would be fucking lawsuits from all around. And they would all be tied to plagiarism. That's what this fucking guy does. He tries to plagiarize other people's work. Like you said, he tried to plagiarize some of your poems and shit. And then
I don't recall him trying to do any of that.
Oh, I thought maybe. Okay. I wasn't sure. Okay. But that'd be like if he did, like if he knew any of your poems and he would try to pass them off as his own,
Yeah, I get what you mean, but no, he hasn't done anything like that that I know of.
Okay. But, this guy, he resorts to a lot of dumb, dirty shit. And it's like, okay, why don't you focus on your kids, dude? Like, you sit there and claim that you have all these big companies, but they're not companies. It's you pretending that you are a company. And I know there's got to be something illegal with that. I know this, I don't think it's illegal, but it's like, you're selling yourself out there. You're lying about something. You know, you're lying about having this big ass company out there that you're the CEO of. Just like you're the CEO of something Bowl America or whatever. I'm like, you ain't no CEO of Bowl America, motherfucker. You're a goddamn bowler. You just take the shit seriously. This is somebody who's come out and said bowling shouldn't be about you go in a bowling alley and you got kids running around and people are eating food at their tables and there's music playing and that's not where real bowling is. Like, God, lighten the fuck up, dude. Bowling is bowling, you know, people, it's a sport. Bowling is a sport. You know, there are bowling leagues, you see the games on TV, ESPN, all that kind of shit. It's still a sport. It's a family sport also. So what do you call it, like a fucking Chuck E. Cheese? If you go to like Severna Park Lanes in Maryland, what do you call it, like Chuck E. Cheese for bowling? Like that's how fucking arrogant this guy is when it comes to shit like that. And his arrogance is really getting to the best of him. Whereas after you have told me 2 weeks ago the whole fucking thing with you know, his application process for the 23 network. So I started putting laugh emojis on his posts. Now the way his Facebook is set up, you could see all his posts, but unless you're following him or you're friending him, you can't comment. You can share the stuff, you can react on the stuff with emojis, but you can't comment on it. So I would put a laugh emoji on it. He took that shit too seriously, people. He would keep commenting. He would comment my name and he'd be like, "What's so funny? What's so funny? What do you think is so funny?" Like, okay, so I can't laugh at what you post? Like, you find me reacting hilariously to your post offensive? Please, he's, oh my God, he is so fucking politically correct now. Like, this guy, he must want to suck Biden's dick so bad. I imagine he wants to be on the fucking ground with Biden pants down right in front of him. And
well, maybe we can give him a peace offering, a wafer and some rice meat.
He probably is on wafer. He'd be like, "That's a."
And he probably loves that rice meat.
The wafer 23. There we go. Ding 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 ding. Wafer 23. We now copyright it. The Wafer 23. There we go. You can't pick that name, Dan. You can't use that for your group, your cult group, because we just claimed it. We made it up. We claimed it. It's ours. The Wafer 23. But, oh my God, like for a 37-year-old man to take this shit too serious, too personal. Like, dude, Facebook, people react on pages, yeah, and you're going to call me childish? You're going to say I'm childish for laughing at your post? Okay, so I put a laugh emoji on posts all the time on Facebook. Am I childish for that? People do that shit all the time. So apparently, me laughing at his posts, I'm childish. But then you gotta know why I'm laughing at it. Do I need a reason to laugh at it? Because you're a fucking idiot? Because you're a doofus? You're an Edward James Hubbard Jr.? But do I really need a reason, a legit reason to explain myself to you as to why I react so hilariously to your Facebook pages? No. Leave it at that. But then you're going to sit there and be like, "Oh, well, keep laughing. Keep putting your emojis in there. It's making my algorithm go up in Facebook." What algorithm does Facebook have? Jesus Christ. Facebook doesn't have a fucking algorithm. YouTube does. Twitch does. Kick does. Anything with a streaming platform does. Like shit, you know, you hear about people talking about putting things into an algorithm on platforms like YouTube, just so that, like, if all right, take our channel for instance, and I want to get our stream today out there to multiple people, but we're at the bottom of the barrel. So there's usually ways of trying to put yourself in the algorithm of things to where it's getting put out there to more and more people that, you know, they'll see it, they'll recognize it, they'll find it easily. You know, that's what putting things into an algorithm is. There is no algorithm for your Facebook page, Dan. There's no algorithm. We're laughing at your shit. It's not making you popular. The only thing that you're really bringing any kind of attention to yourself is the fact that you're acting like a complete idiot. Yes, you are acting like such a complete idiot when you do shit like that.
100%.
See, even Hubbard agrees. You know, like what algorithm are you talking about, dude? Like, all you got to do is type in DT Hagen. Look, there he is. It's some dumbass wearing a fucking bicycle chain around his neck who thinks he's some big star. You know, he's like, I'm a future billionaire. I stopped working long ago. I don't want to work for employers. I don't want to take orders and all. I want to work for myself. Well, unfortunately, Dan, there's a process for stuff like that. It's okay for people to have dreams, to want to follow their dreams. Everybody does it. There's nothing wrong with it. But you gotta have some backing. You gotta start at the bottom. How many, look at all these rock stars, all right? Look at all these people who are Hollywood actors, who are musicians. They all started at the bottom, Dan. Even people like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, everybody started at the bottom. A lot of them started out working at fucking McDonald's, making $3 or $4 an hour. Maybe 5 or 6 days a week, started working while they were in high school and shit. People start at the bottom. It's how you manage yourself. It's how you put yourself out there. A lot of these musicians, shit, you can watch documentaries on them. You know, they've graduated school, or maybe they've dropped out of school. That's, you know, they always go back for a GED or whatever, but they've always managed to, you know, get a job so they can afford to buy their gear and shit, or afford to do this and afford to do that. But then they also take time, set time aside to do what they want to do with their life. I work with somebody who wants to make something of himself. He works full time where I'm at. I relieve him all the time. I relieve him, you know, from my night shift. He's going to school. He can't go to an actual college. He does school online. So there are people that put themselves out there. They have ways of doing it. Your way of doing things is, okay, well, I'm going to make my $1 billion, but you have no backing for it. You have.
I mean, what did he do? Go to a seminar?
He must have.
You know how to make billions?
YouTube seminar. Like, you can't expect to hit your billion overnight, dude. You're talking about investing into certain things. What are you going to invest with? You ain't got no money. I don't know who the fuck you live with. I don't know who pays your mortgage and your bills. But you ain't got nothing to invest in anything to become a fucking millionaire and all. You know, he lives in such a fantasy world of what he wants to be. But he does not know how to fucking get there.
You know, and I had an uncle who was a multimillionaire. All right?
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure,
So I love how he's trying to act like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, because unlike a lot of people, I do research in this shit.
Yep. That's what we all do here. You know, everybody does it. They research and that kind of stuff. They take advice. You know, they get help sometimes.
But it's just like his 23. I've heard that spiel before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like, I don't think he came up with that on his own. I think something got put in his brain from someone else, and now he's brainwashed.
Yep. And that's all it is. You know, he's possibly brainwashed, and he's going along with the shit. Just like right now, you know, he's really obsessed with stalking 3 grown men who he calls obsessed because we saw something on his Facebook and we laughed at it. This guy, you know, somebody who takes shit too personal.
Out of all of us, I'm the least obsessed because I was the one that just flat out said, fuck you.
Yeah. And you've known him longer. I've known him for 12, 13 years. Jeff's known him for a week. Not personally, but Jeff's like, what the fuck's wrong with this retard? You know? And it's all over. I mean, yes, it began with his arrogance of his new era network, the 23 network. Like, you know, you just slapped Tom in the face with that shit. You know, Tom has been there for you thick and thin for so many years. And now you're basically telling him, oh, there's an application to fill out. You know, there's a process. If you want to be my friend to the end, you gotta fill out something. You gotta dedicate yourself. Otherwise, I can cut your contract at any time and say, yeah, fuck you, goodbye. Like you just slapped him in the face with that. And Tom said, you know, after 23 years and you want to do this shit, fuck you. I would say the same thing. Like, I've never really was his friend. I known him. Which means, you know, and I'm like, you know, I have no ill will. I'll fuck his ass humbly, you know, as Jeff would call it. You know, that's why I say the things that I said. That's why I was comfortable with saying what I said, exposing his ass the last couple weeks. You know, because I know you know him personally. There's really nothing much for you to say but fuck you. I know him, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell this fucker off. And I've had my fun with it. I know I've pissed him off. I've given him a hard on. You know, I know he is triggered. He is triggered to the T over a Facebook reaction. And he still is triggered today. Just like when Jeff called him Butterball the other day, he was mad as hell. And he already knows.
Back from his stalker days with me.
Yep. And then he figured, okay, I'm not going to get to these two. I'm going to start stalking this guy, Jeff. So Jeff blocked him. And then as soon as he unblocked him, the motherfucker was right there. Instantly. Like, oh my God, dude. Like, you literally monitor his Facebook? Like, what do you do, Dan? Do you keep refreshing? Let me see if he unblocked me. Refresh. Ah, he unblocked me. Oh, stay off my Facebook, stalker. You're obsessed with me. You're only making me shine brighter. And Jeff's over here like, dude, go the fuck away. Leave me the fuck alone. You're a fucking stalker. Go away. Oh, well, you're on my Facebook. You guys are obsessed. But I do want to talk about my side of things. But yeah, you all are cowards because you won't let me on your show. We're not letting you on our show, dumbass. You know, we said our piece. We've exposed you. There's nothing to hear from you ever again.
I gave him a chance to be on URC back when it was officially, you know, created years ago.
Yep.
He fucked that up.
Yes, he did.
Why would I let him on now?
Exactly. We'd be sitting there for 2 hours. We'd be sitting there for 2 hours like, where's Dan? Where's Dan? He's got a link to the Discord. He can hop on in, say his fucking piece, and then be out of here. He could pull a Hubbard. He could come in and say, I just want to come in and say, fuck you, have a nice day and stuff, and then leave.
Well, my thing is, when I first created this, all right, Discord wasn't even a thing.
No, it wasn't.
You know, it used to be, we would all get together in a room. I would put a camcorder down, and I would record our voices through the camcorder.
Uh-huh.
But he couldn't show up.
Nope.
Kept telling me, oh, I'll be there, right? Which postponed me getting stuff filmed. You know, so then you wonder why I got mad.
Yeah.
You're the one holding me up.
Exactly.
So back then when he started his stalker crap, that's what caused it. So I lost my patience.
Yeah. And I would too. And,
you know?
And it's the same here, Dan. Like, you want to be part of something, but you can't be part of something because you blow it for yourself. You should be, there's only one person you should be mad at, Dan, and that's you. You're full of broken promises, empty dreams. You know, your words mean nothing to anybody. And we exposed it. You're pissed off at it, and you're pissed off at the fact that we exposed it live on a podcast that a lot of other people listen to, and now they know who you are. You're a fucking loser, dude. You truly are. You go live on your Facebook page, and of course you got the. You guys will see this tomorrow. I'm gonna have it as a prop tomorrow on the show. You got this fucking childish microphone. Okay, my stepdaughter has one. You recharge it. It's a rechargeable battery. It's a fucking karaoke microphone that has different sound effects and shit. You got one that's in all black though. You think you're some big WWE side ring announcer with it. You're holding it up to your mother. Hey, let me tell you all about my network. Let me tell you about the haters. Yeah, I want you guys, blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, you're not some kind of fucking, you're not famous.
And let me make something else clear.
Yeah.
As much as he might think I'm disrespecting his grandfather and grandmother and stuff like that, his grandmother and grandfather liked me because I originally would keep him out of trouble, and they knew I would smack the shit out of him if he got out of hand.
In your face, Dan. That's
so if anybody's being disrespectful to him right now, it's you, because I was, getting along with your grandparents perfectly fine. They liked me, and I was doing what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And if anything, I was still trying to carry it out with the fuck you to you, due to the fact you're doing something stupid towards everybody you know.
Mm-hmm. So the childish
Maybe
thing,
you should think about that.
Yeah. So the biggest childish thing that Daniel Thomas Hagen does, he shirks and he blames. That's what you do, Dan. You shirk and you blame. You fuck up. You do shit to yourself. And then you have the nerve to blame it on other people, calling them out. When it's you, dude. You're the one doing all this shit. So when you look back on all these pictures you post on your Facebook page of our channel, my face, just know you're making me more popular. You have no ego right now. You've overinflated your ego. It's an empty ego. You think I'm making you famous? I'm making you shine? You think I'm inflating your ego? No, dude, you're making me popular. People are finding out who the fuck I am. You're like, oh, he has his podcast. He's talking about me. Yes, we're talking about you, about the stupid shit that you've done in your life. And how...
You don't want us to talk about you? Don't do stupid shit towards us.
Exactly. But I will say this, Dan. We now have you blocked on social media. There's no way of communicating with us whatsoever. You want to watch the show? By all means, become a fan. You claim on Facebook that this is your favorite podcast. I love those guys. That's my favorite podcast. I can't wait to be on the show. Dude, there was never any talks of bringing you on, and there never will be. But I will give you this last tidbit here. Expect another nasty note from somebody else that you've royally pissed off. Because when you lose all your friends in the end, dude, you have yourself. Just remember one thing. You have yourself to blame for this Daniel Thomas Hagen. So just remember that, dude. This is the final metaphoric nail in your coffin to end this whole thing with you. The drama with you.
And if he does make his billions, and he's standing on top of that mountain like he was talking, he'll be the only one casting the stones. Because he'll be up there alone.
Exactly. Just like, let's say you do make your billions, Dan. No one cares. Do I care that Elon Musk is rich and Bill Gates has made Microsoft and he's rich? I don't give a fuck. I don't know them personally. They're both arrogant assholes to me. I don't talk to them. I don't look up to them. They're not my idols. I don't give a shit. Elon Musk, he turned Twitter into X, which is the fucking dumbest thing I've ever fucking seen. But do I give two shits about him? No. Do I want to be him? Fuck no. Even when it comes to what we do here as a hobby with the podcast, even Jeff will say, when you gain a big audience and you're real popular, there's a lot of shit you got to deal with. A lot of haters, a lot of hatred, a lot of this, a lot of that. So you know what? Even though we do have an audience here, we're glad to have whoever's here. We're glad to, that there are people that listen in and enjoy the show and whatnot. We do this for fun.
And here's another thing. Say you do get all those billions. Just remember, you can't take it with you.
That's true. That is true. So go ahead, Dan. Follow your dreams. Let us know if you actually do make those billions. Let's see the receipts. Let's see the proof that you made those billions. All right? Because at the end of the day, right here, Tom, Jeff, Tenchi, myself, anybody else involved in your bullshit, none of us will give a flying fuck. You can throw it in our face. You could be smug about it. Just remember, nobody will give a fuck. Maybe your family will. But then again...
Oh, wait. He's cutting a lot of them out, too.
Oh, how sad. I'm pretty sure Grandma and Grandpa is going to be cut out now.
Well, unfortunately, Grandpa passed away. I was at the funeral.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that text.
See, I was even nice enough to show up at the funeral.
That's right. Because...
You see what I'm saying? I knew his grandfather. I respected his grandfather. I showed up for the funeral.
Yeah.
And then you're going to turn around and do this?
Yeah, and not only that, I just now remembered. That's right, the video that you got on your Rumble page showed the text between Tom's wife and yourself talking about your grandfather's funeral. And some other personal details. So that's right, I do remember that your grandfather passed away. I will say this out of respect. Rest in peace to your grandfather. He sounded like a really nice, decent man. But Dan, that is something you'll never be. And that is the final nail in your coffin. So from here on out, Daniel Thomas Hagen, you're not going to be mentioned anymore on these podcasts. You're not going to be mentioned anymore on Utter Random Crap. You are now...
Hell, I won't even be able to mention Turkey anymore.
Oh, we'll still mention Turkey. It just won't be toward him.
Okay.
So, there you go, Dan. You got your wish.
Delicious.
Nobody will talk about you anymore because you're irrelevant. But do me this one favor. Stay away from my buddy Jeff. He's already taken. He's not gay. He don't want your text messages anymore. Stop stalking him. You can't stalk us because there ain't nothing for you to stalk on us. So be it. So anyway, moving on from that. God damn, I took almost an hour and a half talking about his fucking ass. Jesus Christ. So let's see. I think there was a couple things I did want to talk about. I'm not too sure. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this here because I think tomorrow we did have I did say we have a topic for tomorrow involving video games or such. I forgot what that was. It was something we were talking about yesterday. But if you haven't yet, I have a video on the channel titled Xbox 360 Store Shutting Down 2024. If you guys have yet to see that, go over and check out that video. And then come back. But I did a video. I was reading an article from Gaming Bible. I'm not going to reread it, but basically it states that Microsoft is shutting down the digital store for the Xbox 360 come next year. That is a sad thing. That truly is. Because there's a lot of people out there that still play and they still enjoy the classics on Xbox 360. Yeah, that's a sad time. Like, even the people who cannot find certain game titles for the console, if you can't find them physically, you're sure to find them digitally, right? Well, they're going to shut the store down. So you're not going to be able to download digital content. You're not going to be able to download games or the DLC for them. I'm surprised they still got the servers up. Xbox 360 has been out for, God, almost 20 years. It came out in, 2006, I think it was. And it's still popular to this day. Like, a matter of fact, when the Xbox One released, there was an even boxier version of the Xbox 360 that was released. It was in the shape of the 360 Slim, but it was a little bit more boxier to kind of almost resemble the Xbox One. But people still play that today. People still have their Xbox 360s. You know, like they fixed the issue with the hardware. And I'll talk about that in a little bit here because there's another tidbit I do want to talk about. Actually, let me bring that up. Let's see. Lenovo handheld device. I hope I got it right. Let me see. Okay, so, that's what it is. All right, I'll talk about that here in a couple minutes. So, Xbox 360, it's had its hurdles, it's had its obstacles, and it's overcome a lot of them. Same thing with PlayStation 3. And it was very early in its lifespan, you know, where you had hardware issues, where, you know, the 360 had the red ring of death, and the PlayStation 3 just said, fuck you, goodbye, and shut off. And it was all because of an overheating issue. It was because of how the console was made, how it was manufactured, and just one little tidbit of, you know, one little mistake that was made, you know, or something that wasn't done properly with the consoles, and it has to do with the CPU and the heatsink. Now, even with PCs, you know, and especially a lot of gaming PCs, and I watch a lot of channels on YouTube when they do computer builds. And everybody knows with these type of PCs today, when you put the CPU in and you put it all together, there's usually a heat sink attached with a fan that goes over top of the CPU to keep it cool. So you got several fans inside a PC to keep it cool, because PCs nowadays, they have a tendency to overheat whenever you're doing something big, like whether you're multitasking, which is what I'm doing right now. I have Discord up on one screen with the internet browser on the other screen. I got Streamlabs open. I do a lot of multitasking when it comes to that. And then there's other times where, you know, it's either Tom and I or Jeff and I or all three of us or whatever, we game on PC. I've been PC gaming a lot here lately. And that tends to heat up, you know, the PC components. And for the most part, it's the graphics. It's the graphics card, the GPU. And it'll heat it up. You know, just like when you hold a phone, when you hold a cell phone, and you're playing a game for a long period of time, and you'll start to feel the back of the phone getting really, really hot. That's the components heating up. It always happens whenever you're using it for something that uses up a lot of resources. Same thing with game consoles. You'll notice the PlayStation 3s and 4s and 5s, same thing with all the Xboxes. They all have a tendency to heat up when you're gaming on them. It just happens. It's something with the components. So when it comes to PCs, and you put that heat sink on there, you got to put something that will keep it intact and try to keep it cool in a sense. It's called thermal paste. So when you have something like that, you got to put the right amount of thermal paste on there and then attach your heat sink to it and then screw it in place. Now what happens sometimes, you know, that thermal paste can have a tendency to, you know, heat up and liquefy a little bit, you know, and then when it cools down, it dries. You know, you just want to make sure that it keeps it intact. That way it keeps the CPU cool, keeps it running good, and such. When it came to the 360 days, the early 360s and the early PS3s, they didn't really go and do that pretty much. You know, they just assemble the consoles, put them together, and say, here you go, happy fucking gaming. But when you got something that overheats like that, it gets really hot, you know, and the components are not properly strapped together. You know, the heat sink wasn't properly attached close to the CPU properly. They didn't have the right amount of thermal paste, or maybe they didn't put thermal paste on it or whatever. And then when the console heats up, thermal paste tends to, like I said, tends to melt, liquefy a little bit. And when there's none left holding the heat sink in place with the CPU, guess what? Console, when it overheats, shuts down or doesn't turn on at all. And that's what was going on with the early 360s. That was going on with the PS3s. When all that thermal paste is melted away and it's not holding the heat sink to the GPU or the CPU, it's not going to run right. It's not going to run at all. It's going to tell you there is an error inside the console. And a lot of people were getting pissed off with it. You know, people were calling Microsoft, they're calling Sony, and they're saying, send your consoles to us, and we will fix it for you, or we'll send you a new one. I had a 360 that I sent out to Microsoft. That son of a bitch, that same son of a bitch came back to me 2 months later. But luckily for me, I just went ahead and got another 360. I said, fuck it, got another one. So when that one came back, I sold it to a buddy of mine at the time, JT. He took it. He played it for a few months. And he got the Red Ring of Death with it again. So I'm sitting there like, okay, they didn't even really fix the motherfucker. They looked at it. They probably turned it on a few times and said, ain't nothing wrong with this. We'll try again tomorrow. Ain't nothing wrong with this. Try again tomorrow. I guarantee that's probably what they did. They probably turned it on, had it on for about a half hour and said, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. It ain't red ringing on us. Send it back to him. Yeah. And then 5 months later, guess what? Red ring. It's done. Trash it. But that's what happened with those early consoles. But they managed to fix that issue. After hundreds of thousands of people had the same issue. So they redesigned the 360 a couple times. They fixed the issue with the overheating. They realized what the hell was going on with it. Same thing with the PlayStation 3s. Now, when the Xbox Ones and the PS4s came out, usually their issues were either USB related or power brick related. And the power brick was always installed inside the console, of course, except for the Xbox. Early Xbox days, you know, their power brick was external. You know, it was the power adapter. It had this big brick, you know, that was in between this big wire, you know, that you plugged in and all. But now they install the power brick inside the consoles. Then I forgot what it's called, the housing of the power source. They put them inside the consoles now, but they worked out a lot of kinks with that. So now, any consoles that come out, yeah, there's still some, you know, in the early batches that tend to have some quirks with them, but not as bad as they used to. But nowadays, it's usually the USB ports tend to come loose or break off. So, you know, they I guess, you know, the manufacturers don't know how to properly secure an HDMI port to the motherboard properly. So then you got to take it to a shop, and then, you know, somebody there is like, oh yeah, just gotta put a new HDMI source on it, you know, and then it'll be good as new. There that is, you know, it's fixed. But other than that, you know, with the way the hardware was, but people still play 360s to this day, you know, and their 360s still work. They still get online. They're still playing games online. And then when the series consoles came out, and you had Phil Spencer, Mr. Phil Spencer, out there on stage. Welcome to the Xbox family. You know, we're the Xbox family, you know, where we all game together. It's all part of a family network, you know, you guys will still be gaming on Xbox One for another 10 years or whatever. You know, you'll be gaming along with the series consoles. You know, we're all, you know, in this together. And I'm like, okay, what happened to 360? I mean, they were making 360 backwards compatible for Xbox One and Series X. Even back in 2015, when they announced that, okay, you'll be able to play your backwards compatible games on these newer consoles. And they said there's only certain titles that we will not be able to do because of the accessories that are attached to these games, like Rock Band or Guitar Hero. You can't use the controllers with the newer consoles. That's fine. If I want to play Rock Band for 360, I will get a 360 and I will play it to my heart's delight. Nothing wrong with that. But then they cut that promise kind of short about 2-3 years ago when they said, we're not going to bring any more 360 games to the backwards compatible lists or with the OG Xbox games. We're done. We're going to focus more on this. We're going to focus more on that. And it's like, well, that's a fucking bummer. Because there's still a ton of good games out there. Good OG games, good 360 games that you can't buy on the digital store now if you want to play it on the series console. You got a slew of them. You probably got about maybe 300 or 400 360 games out of 1,000 that you could play on the Series X. And about 2/3 of those games, 2/3 of that library, you still got to buy physical because on the digital store, they're not there. It'll say they're there, but you can't download them digital. They delisted them from the store. So you're forced to now go to eBay or Amazon or find your local gaming store, thrift shop that may have that game and pay out of pocket probably outrageous prices for it, just so you can play that game on your series console. So Xbox is committing a lot of business suicide right now with a lot of shit, and Sony is just sitting back, laughing their ass off, like, what are you doing, Phil? What are you doing, Microsoft? You're paddling backwards. What the fuck? I thought you were with us. I thought we were competing. But now we're ahead of the fucking game. And I love PlayStation. I do like PlayStation. Don't get me wrong. You know, if I had the money and all, I would probably buy a PS5 just for the exclusives on there. But I got so much money invested in Xbox. I got so many games on Xbox. But I would still get me a PS5, you know? But
I has everything.
I saw. You got the whole lineup.
You're always welcome to play my PS5.
Oh, I know. I know where you live now.
Exactly. Just let me know.
I got you. But yeah, so I would own a PS5, you know, if I had the money and all, and if I had the time to, you know, invest in it too. But Microsoft is doing a lot of backpedaling with shit to move on into the future. It's like you're committing suicide here, guys. Like, why are you doing this? You know, you're upsetting a lot of gamers that are still stuck way back on 360. But that's their life. They love it. Maybe they don't have the money for a newer console. You know, you got these consoles that are like $500, and then you're forced.
I still love my 360.
I would too if I had mine. Yeah.
Mine's hooked up in my dining room, and I have a couple extra 360s that I bought off of somebody.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
But then, you know, Microsoft, they pull this, right? So it's like, if you want extra space to go along with your new console, because the newer games, they're big because of the 4K gaming and all that shit, and they require an extra upgrade to those games, an extra 20 fucking gigs. You'll need to buy an external card that plugs into the back of your console. Now, you may be thinking, well, why can't I just get an external hard drive like I did with the 360 or the Xbox One? Sadly, they don't work with the newer games because the data with those games, you know, with what they do, you know, with the hardware, you know, the 4K gaming, instant loading, shorter load times, all that fucking stuff. It's not those external hard drives, even if they're USB 3.1 or whatever, the data transfer is not fast enough for those games. You could store them on there, but you can't play them off of there. Now, granted, I have a lot of Xbox One, 360, and OG titles installed on my externals that I can play off of there. I just cannot play the Series XS titles. I could store them on there, but let me tell you, it's a pain in the ass transferring that shit back and forth. If I want to, you know, let's say I ran out of space on my internal and I want to play, let's say Alan Wake 2 just came out a couple weeks ago. Let's say I want to play that. I have to transfer, let's say Starfield. I would have to transfer Starfield to my external just to install Alan Wake, just so I could play that. Now, even though it saves you the time and effort of having to download it over your network, it still takes time for the fucking transfer process. Like, transferring it from my external to my internal still takes about 10-15 minutes to do, depending on the data transfer. So it's like, by the end of the transfer, I'm like, I don't even really feel like playing the game now. Like, I would love for it to be instant. Same thing if you got the game physical. You still got to install the game physically, even though you got the disc. So if you put the disc in, you still got to install the data. Even if you install it on the external console, guess what? You still got to transfer that shit over to the internal. And I'm just like, what the fuck did you do here, Microsoft? Same thing with Xbox One games that now have that SX upgrade. The Witcher 3. I was forced to download the upgrade for it. So now The Witcher 3 is sitting on my external if I ever want to play it. So why am I being forced to upgrade games that have been out for 10 years when it should be just an option? If I don't want to play the newer version, just ask me ahead of time. Just be like, do you want to play the Xbox One version or the Series X version? Give me that option. Don't sit there and force me to download something. Even if I don't download it, if I choose not to download it, I still can't play it. Because you're forcing me to download the shit regardless. So then at one point, I was forced to buy one of those external cards.
I need to get one of those still.
Yeah, I paid $220 for mine, a fucking 1 terabyte. $220 for a 1 terabyte. If you want 2 terabytes, the same price of a PS5. But now they got an alternative. I think it's
Western Digital
Western,
came out.
yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. Western Digital came out.
And I use their SSDs like in my laptop and stuff, so I know they're good.
Yeah, Western Digital's all that's all I would go with too. Yeah, Western Digital, they have good hard drives.
I hear it's actually faster than the one that they made for the Xbox.
Oh, nice. But yeah, they now got into the game, so now you could buy them just a little bit cheaper, maybe about $40 or $50 cheaper than the ones that they had out. But they're still expensive, and of course, you know, SSD drives on the market, they are very expensive. You know, they're faster data transfers. You know, they're using SSD drives in basically everything now. PCs, gaming consoles, probably coming to cell phones too soon. Who knows? You know, they're the fastest drives right now on the market, and they're very expensive. You know, just like back in the day, if you bought an external hard drive, let's say a 1 terabyte, cost you about $400 or $500 just for that. But they've come down in price now too, for depending on which one you get. So I was forced to get a 1 terabyte card. That's full too. That's just as full too. So you got to figure with game installs, plus DLC if you have DLC, plus the patches, plus the SX upgrade, you could probably install up to maybe 10 games on a 1 terabyte. And for people like me who have, I own 700 fucking games. Plus I do Game Pass, so I have access to another, 1,000 fucking games right there. And then I got games under Games for Gold, which was discontinued about a month and a half ago, but I still have access to those games. And then you got EA Play, which is integral part of Game Pass. So I have access to hundreds of games right there at my fingertips that I can download and enjoy. But you don't have enough space for the shit. Just like recently, I heard that Modern Warfare 3 that just came out, I think it's 200 to 300 gigs of space needed for the campaign, zombies, multiplayer, and multiplayer max and the packs. Why do I want to buy a game that requires 300 gigabytes of space? If you bought a Series S, the slim version of the X, which is only, well, when it came out, it was only 500 gigs. I think they have a 1 terabyte version out right now. But if you buy the 500 gig version of the S, now when you get it all set up, it takes about maybe a fraction of that space for the operating system and everything else. So you're not really getting fully 500 gigs of space. You're getting about 400 and let's say 420. So setting up the Xbox, you ate up at least 80 gigs of space right there for that. So now you got 420 free gigs of space on that hard drive. And you install Modern Warfare 3. One game nearly took up the entire hard drive. That is fucking ridiculous. Like, yeah, back in the day when you played on 360, if you had big ass games, they required multiple discs. We didn't mind that. Look at LA Noire. When that game came out, it was 2 discs. Game was only maybe, I don't know, 8-9 hours long, but with the content inside the game that made it look so lifelike and all for the times, like, yeah, it was worth it. There's a 360 game out there called Lost Odyssey. I still yet to play it, but I own it. It's an RPG it's like a Japanese RPG, I think. When that came out on 360, that was 4 discs. And those are DVD discs.
Yep.
Now, with PS3, we were actually just talking about this yesterday with the Metal Gear series. So, yep. And you, go ahead and tell them what you told me about Metal Gear Solid 4. It comes better from you.
Oh, the fact that Konami actually made a Xbox 360 version of it?
Yeah.
But they refused to release it due to the fact that they didn't want to release a game on multiple discs. It was going to be a 2-disc game, just like, a bunch of other ones. Hell, the original Metal Gear on PlayStation was 2 discs.
Yep.
So I really don't understand the whole thing behind it, but they never released it just because it was on multiple discs.
Yeah. Yeah, because now with them releasing Volume 1 of the games, and they're going to plan on releasing Volume 2, which now, hopefully, Metal Gear Solid 4, you guys will be able to play it on Xbox, finally. Because, well, not only because of the disc, well, not even really because of the disc size, because everything is basically digital now. But, yeah, back on PS3 was running Blu-ray discs. And Blu-ray discs hold probably twice or 3 times as much data as a standard DVD disc, which, like you said, it doesn't really matter. Like, we already had games on 360 that were on 2 and 3 discs. Like, what would have been the issue not being able to put Metal Gear Solid 4 on the 360? Like, my only pet peeve was with MGS4. I played it on 360, not 360, a PS3. Ugh. I played it on PS3. My only pet peeve was every time I was loading in the next chapter, I had to install it. And it was just taking forever on my network to install. I'd be sitting there for like 20, 30 minutes to install it.
They eventually changed that.
That's good.
They eventually put an update in to where it already installed all of it, like, immediately onto the system.
Okay.
But you still had a little waiting screen for it to load, but it wasn't like as long. Like, oh, we gotta, program this in now. It's like it was all there finally.
That's good. Yeah. So now that's all coming to 360, or not 360. I keep stuck on fucking 360. It's all coming to Xbox. It's all coming to Jesus Christ.
Hopefully, it will be coming to Xbox. Is what we're saying.
Yeah. But yeah, even though 360 did have some flaws here or there, it's all about, business from the developers, the third-party companies, even Microsoft themselves. But yeah, as I'm saying, like, with Microsoft doing this, they're committing suicide businessly, from a business standpoint. You're trying to kill off Xbox.
Well, I know why they stopped doing the backwards compatibility.
Okay.
And the honest truth is behind it, it was too expensive trying to relicense things.
That does make sense, yeah.
Because they had to relicense a lot of it. I mean, it's just like they completely remade Stubbs the Zombie because they had to remove all the music from it and put in generic music.
I did hear about that, yes.
I own the original Stubbs the Zombie digitally.
Okay.
So it still has the original music and stuff, but I guarantee, like, if I were to try to stream it on Twitch or something, I'd probably get flagged.
Ooh.
Because of the music that's in it.
Damn.
And I had a hell of a time trying to track the game down, because I was thinking, why the hell can't I find it? Why can't I get it on this? And then I find out that they completely redid it, and they took out the old music.
Yeah, that is something I did forget about. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, because even Microsoft
So Microsoft tried what they could, and it became too expensive that they would have started hemorrhaging money if they would have kept going.
Yeah, true.
Honestly, it would have just been easier for them to make remakes of the games instead of trying to make them backwards compatible.
That is true too, yeah. But then again, they just spent a year and a half trying to get Activision Blizzard under their belt, and that's coming too soon next year to Xbox. But yeah, that does make sense. Like, even they delisted for some of the Forza games, like Forza Horizon and some of the Forza Motorsports. They did delist them because of the licensing for the music, and I think some of the cars too. But you can still play those games, though. Those games you can still play. I still own Forza Motorsport 7 and a couple of the Horizons I still play, which they are still playable, but then there's going to come a day where they shut the servers down on those, and you just be playing them solo.
I think it's like, I think I have Forza 3 here on disc or something, but I can't buy any of like the DLC for it or anything.
Yeah, because they delisted that. It's like you can still play, you just can't buy anything that's attached to it.
Sometimes I wish it would be that if you own a game, you would be allowed to still buy the DLC for it or something, you know?
Yeah. Just like what kind of upsets me is I bought Friday the 13th back when it released on console.
Right.
And I haven't played too much of it. Like, when I have played it, I played maybe just a handful of online games. But for the
I've never played it online. I've always gone against the damn bots.
Yeah, that's what I started doing. Like, I'll be leveling Jason up because that's what I want it to be. I want it to be Jason. I don't just go out there and kill people. But then,
well, I didn't have anybody to play with. That was the problem. The game was popular, but I never had anybody to play with, so I didn't get to play as a survivor. You know?
Yeah.
So then I figured, fuck it, I'm just going to go on a killing spree.
Might as well. But then earlier this year, they said that they were going to delist the game from the store and then shut servers down next year. But all of that is basically because there was a lawsuit with, I think, Paramount Pictures, some of the producers and writers, including Sean Cunningham, who directed the film. There was this big lawsuit going on for several years. And there was even some content that they were supposed to bring to the game, but they didn't because of the lawsuit going on. So they stopped making content for the game, and now they figured, well, game is probably pretty much dead. We're going to delist it. You guys can still enjoy playing online if you own it. But there's also talks and rumors of another Friday the 13th game that's going to probably make here in sometime in the future, now that the lawsuit's over and done with, and they actually have a prequel series coming to Peacock called Crystal Lake. It's supposed to be the younger, earlier days of Jason, you know, and all. I was like, how the fuck are they gonna? Oh, they're gonna fuck that up. I already know it, but yeah,
well, I don't even know how they're gonna pull that off because Jason didn't start killing until after his mother got killed.
Yeah, so I'm interested in seeing,
because he apparently witnessed her beheading.
Yeah,
which is what triggered it all.
So now it's like...
So I don't get what they're going to pull with this prequel series.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see when that comes out. I bet that's going to fuck it all up for fans right there.
I hope, though, that when they shut the servers down completely, that they still leave the offline mode so I can still go against, you know, the AI.
That's what I'm wanting. Like, I still want to be able to play it.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because we spent the money on the fucking game. The least thing you do is leave the offline modes for us to play.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even though, what was it, back in...
You programmed AI into the game, at least, you know, let that still go.
Yeah, and you don't even have to worry about a progression system, because back in June, they upgraded everybody to max level, so everything is now open in the game.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, just let us play it just to fucking play it. Fuck it, you know? I don't care to get online. I'll just... Shit, some people will still want to stream it. Hey, you know, just keep it up there. Like, it's a memorable thing. And that's another thing that kind of upsets me when Phil Spencer said that there's no games left behind. You know, because there is a lot of video games out there, just like there's a lot of movies out there that are lost in time, you know, that haven't been remastered or brought to DVD or Blu-ray or remastered and brought to the modern day consoles. There's a lot of games out there that, you could bring to a modern day audience to enjoy. Like kids today, they see GoldenEye on Xbox and on Switch, and they're like, oh, this looks fun. But then they start playing, like, what the fuck is this? Like, well, this was a shit back when Daddy was a kid. I used to play the hell out of this. So, it's you want to try to bring a lot of the older stuff back. It's all retro. It's all nostalgic. The idea is to keep the art alive. That's what Phil was basically stating a few years ago. We want to keep it alive for generations to come. But right now, it's kind of like you shortened that process and said, no, we're moving on. Because of cost, because of this, we're just moving on to the future. And then pretty soon they're trying to make everything more digital and more accessible through a cloud network. But even their cloud network is still too shitty. Like, yes, I could play certain games on my phone. I could play certain games on the cloud on the console. But those servers tend to be laggy at times. Like, just the other day, I was trying to cloud a game on Game Pass, and it said the queue was like 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and wait 15 minutes to load a game on the cloud. Fuck that. I want to play a game instantly, especially if you're playing it on the cloud. So there's a lot of tweaks that they need to make with that if they ever decide to say, okay, we're done with digital, we're done with physical, we want to put everything on the cloud. Kind of like how Google tried to do. I done forgot what their console was that came out 2 years ago and died out. What the fuck was that?
Stadia.
Yes, Stadia.
The Google Stadia.
Yeah, when Stadia was announced, and we were talking about that years ago on the show, and I was like, watch, this shit is not going to last long. It's not going to last long because you had to buy the console and the controllers, you had to buy the subscription, then you had to buy the titles, and then here it is 2-3 years later, they shut everything down. They shut all the servers down, they're discontinuing it, and everybody that gave into this motherfucker, they got their full refund back. So you can imagine how much money Google had to pay back. Like that's a big loss right there. It's like
I really don't like the idea of gaming's becoming a service because I like owning what I'm playing.
Exactly, same here.
The day that everything becomes a service, I will stop buying games and stuff completely. I will just stay with everything I own.
That's the same thing with me. Like, I can't understand like paying for something that's out there on a network that can be hacked, and can be held, at ransom by these hacker networks, like the DDoS network and all that shit.
Well, I'm thinking about what Sony did to Austria that one time. And when they shut down a service over there, any movies that people bought, they lost.
Yep. I read about
and it's
that.
It's like, how can you do that?
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that's happening here with the 360 store. If you bought any movies or TV shows when they shut the store down, you're not going to have access to that content. So somebody could have invested $1,000 in movies on the 360, and they can't watch them on the 360 anymore. But I'm like, okay, question is, let's say
if they shut down the store, are they shutting down the internet to it as well, or?
I didn't see anything there where they were going to do that. That would be a dumb move too if they did that along with it.
What I'm getting at is they're shutting down the store. Why the hell wouldn't the other shit still work? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I know.
If you're still going to let it have internet connectivity, that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what will happen is that means, you'll have to upgrade to another system in order to watch the shit that you previously bought.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing I stated, yeah.
And I know that will happen because it has the same app on the series, the Xbox One, the Xbox Series systems. You can watch that shit.
Yeah. And not only that, if you guys have a mobile app for Xbox, if you guys got the you can even watch it on PC too. If your Microsoft account is on PC if it's linked to your phone or a new console, you can still enjoy those, which is a plus, because I tell everybody, everything is linked to your account. That's why I like to educate people on, like, even Mel, she'll even ask me, now, if we upgrade to the next console, are you going to lose anything or whatever? I say no, because everything is linked to my Microsoft account. As long as I don't do any stupid shit to get my account suspended or whatever, everything that I've bought digitally stays on that account. It's movies, TV shows, games, DLC, and just like with you, I've been buying a lot of things digital, because it is nice to own physical at times, but then like you were stating to me yesterday, like you found games on sale that were cheaper on sale digital than they are physical. and that's how I bought a lot of my games. Like, I would hit up all the digital sales whenever they would have one, and I would be looking at these games. I'm like, okay, I can get this game for $10. I can get this game for $2.99. And I would add it to my list. Even if it's some obscure game from 360 days and it's on sale, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Because they're going to try to make it obsolete one day. I'm going to go ahead and buy it and own it. And as long as you own the content to your account, you have access to it anywhere at any time. So let's say I bought a copy of Halo 3 digital, and it works on the Series X. If I want to play Halo 3's single player, because let's say can't play the multiplayer, but you can play the single player. Let's say I want to play the single player, and I don't have the money to buy the Master Chief Collection, I could still bring it up on the console because I own it. That's the glory of owning something under your account digitally, or even if you buy it physical. I'd still rather outright own it. But there are perks to both sides of the spectrum. There's perks to digital, there's perks to owning physical. If I had the room, if I had a nice big gaming room, I could probably put all kind of shelves up and start collecting physical, if I had the money for that stuff. But that's a dream of either one day, or I could just sit there and keep dreaming about it till the day I die and be like, oh, I wish I would have done this to have that, but oh well, I lived a good life. And then feel my last breath and then hear that beep. It's all a dream. But yeah, Microsoft, they've done a lot of stuff. We can see why they've done so many things. We can see why they've done this and done that. Now, yes, they're closing the stores down on the 360. 360's been out since 2006. That's like when Xbox Live first hit the OG Xbox, and people were playing Halo 2 like a motherfucker. I was one of those. I was on Halo 2 online with my friends back in the day. I also had Doom 3 back on it, and Doom 3 even had a multiplayer. I was on that shit bat crazy. I met some girl from Canada. I was gaming with her. I had a fucking crew on there. We were fucking playing and having a good time doing that. But then when they were going to shut down the servers for Halo, it was Halo 2, and nobody wanted to let it go. So when word got out that they were shutting the servers down for Halo 2, there was a big group of people who logged on and stayed logged on for months at a time to keep the servers going until, Microsoft and Bungie, I can't remember if Bungie got in there with it. I might have been Bungie, until they got in there and they started knocking people off one by one until there was like 2 people left. And then when those 2 people were gone, and the servers finally closed down, they actually awarded these people. They gave them something, in return for being dedicated fans and keeping the servers alive. And that's fucking awesome there. That happened back in 2013.
But you know one thing. When we die, we're not going to hear that beep. It's going to be more like...
That or whoever's sitting close to us.
Well, they say you relieve yourself when you die, so...
Yeah.
I feel much better now.
I think my case would be more like this. I'll have my ass hanging off the edge of the bed into a fucking bedpan or bucket or something.
Nah.
Like, what was that?
The last words that were heard in that room were, "Holy shit."
Then I come out of my coma and start laughing and die again.
That's right.
Betty Crocker knows what guys want.
Oh, yeah.
We can't be trusted with soundboard.
No, we can't. But yeah, so I'm gonna go back with one more thing, and I was telling you about this yesterday too. So with the with the release of a lot of these handhelds now, guys, like the Steam Deck came out sometime this year or last year, whenever it came out, and everybody's trying to get into the handheld market again.
And I realized what that thing was called yesterday when you kept talking about the Legion.
Yeah.
It's called the Legion Go.
I'm looking right at it. Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name of it.
Yeah. So yeah, handheld gaming has been a thing for, gosh, since the early 80s. You know, you had these little pocket games that Nintendo was releasing, like Mr. Game & Watch, Donkey Kong, little games like that. And then, you know, Nintendo was the first to get into the market with the Game Boy, and then Sega followed with the Game Gear, and then Atari had the Lynx, and it was a back and forth with a lot of different handhelds. Nintendo had, you know, they held their end up for so long, and it evolved greatly over the last 30-some years. So now, you know, a few years ago, you know, Nintendo released the Switch, and the Switch... It's a great innovation to the console / handheld market. You know, Nintendo has come along the way so far and so long. You know, especially the evolution of the DS, the 3DS, and then you got consoles like the Wii U, which did not perform, you know, as well as they thought it should have or they wanted to, but it evolved into the Switch, which can be played either as a handheld or sat on a dock as a console. And there was really nothing wrong with the console when it first released. There was no hardware issues or anything. If anything, it would be, you know, user issue. It would be a fucking user error. You know, whether you dropped it on its side and cracked the screen, or dumped some liquid in there and fucked it up. You know, it would be a user error with it. That's all it is. But it never really had any kind of flaws or malfunctions with it. It's like the perfect Nintendo console right now, and everybody somewhere has a Switch. I own the Switch OLED. I think, Tom, you said you got the Switch, the Switch Lite and the regular Switch, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So with Nintendo, of course, there's going to come competitors in the handheld console market. So we had the Steam Deck come out. You know, it's been out for about a year. It's doing very fine. It's doing pretty well. But then there's...
That got a new revision.
Yes, it did.
The OLED.
Yeah, the screen's just a little bit bigger and brighter.
Oh my, golf clap.
So now there's other people in the market to make competitors. And one of them is Lenovo. Now, there's a lot of people that have different opinions when it comes to Lenovo. They're usually a cheaper alternative when it comes to PCs. Lenovo is basically like buying an E-machine in the early 2000s. That's how I feel about it. Like, I've owned Lenovo products. They're nice to begin with, and then after a while they start taking a shit on you. That's how I look at the Lenovo products. But this new handheld, it just came out within the last couple months or so. It's the Lenovo Legion Go. It's an 8.8-inch screen, 144 hertz gaming handheld. It's got an AMD Ryzen Z1 processor with 16 gigs. It has 16 gigs with 512 gig SSD drive in it. And this is a thick motherfucker. It is thick. I could tell that because my coworker, he just recently bought it. He bought the Lenovo Go, and he likes it. Don't get me wrong, he likes it. This is basically a mini computer. You can install Windows.
That thing is so thick, it's got mic.
I'm tweeting my Twitter.
Yep. That's how thick it is. A thick motherfucker. It's like, you know, back in the 90s, people had these handheld little pads and shit that had a certain version of Windows on them, and people were taking them around with them. They're like Palm Pilots and shit. You know, compact PC was sort of a thing back in the 90s, but they were hell of expensive. It was like $1,200, I think, at the time for a Palm Pilot. And usually rich people will have them. Businessmen, you know, anybody who's working for like a law firm or anything like anybody.
Never saw the point in those.
I know, they were pointless. So it's like, you know, they were really used for like taking notes and shit, or even if you're just sitting there, you know, wait at a fucking meeting, you're playing solitaire on there or whatever. There was even like half-size laptops I've seen that have come out back then. You know, everybody has some kind of pocket version of a computer, and that's what this is. You know, it's pretty thick. It's think of it as like 2.5 times the size of the Switch OLED. That's basically in thickness and maybe just all around. You know, that's how big that thing is. And of course, just like the Switch, both of the grips, they do come detached. They're, you know, the controller handles, they do come detached from it. And you can actually use one of them. There's actually a little peripheral plastic piece that you can attach one of them to and use it as a mouse. So this is basically a miniature computer, you know, for $699. $700 mini computer. That's all this thing is. It comes with a carrying case, charging cable. It comes with a little plastic piece that you put one of the handles on and you can use it as a mouse. Both of these handles have different buttons and shit on them, you know, on the trigger and all that. It has touch pads and shit. So, you know, my coworker, he was telling me how he likes it. It's got full FPS on it. Some of the games on his Steam account, he can pull up Steam games on there. They run pretty solid, but then there's issues with some games where the frame rate kind of lags, or it doesn't load up at all, or it barely loads in. So he said, yeah, they got to put a patch out for this, you know, but you know, they're always listening to some kind of user feedback on it. Well, he's one of the unfortunate ones that has one of the versions of the model that ended up kind of like, as I stated earlier in the show, the 360 movement. I'm going to call it the 360 movement, the red ring of death. This thing has its own share of hardware errors. And it's basically the same thing. Like when he told me that he was having issues with it, he had to contact Lenovo. He said that the console would just shut down. It would overheat, it would heat up, and then it would shut off. So he contacted them, and they told him it was a hardware issue, probably with the CPU or whatever. And he said something about the heat sink and the CPU, and I was like, oh, yes, it's a mini Xbox 360. So I had to educate him on that. And I told him, I said, that's exactly what I figured it was going to be, because this is basically a mini PC. And they built it to kind of feel like a miniature PC, you know, so with the components all in it. So that's why.
Oh, you must be hearing my phone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't realize it was doing anything.
Because I'm like, you're all good.
They can wait until I'm done.
Yeah. So yeah, this console here, it's made up to be a miniature PC. You know, all the components and stuff in it. And I was educating him on it. I said, what's going on here is they built it as like a computer in one small box. Now, when Nintendo did the Switch, they did everything right. You know, everything was put together properly and put in there right to where it's, you know, it's not going to overheat and crash, you know, the way like this thing did. And that's when I told him, I said, well, when you got a heat sink inside of consoles like this, especially as they're tightly compacted together, heat sinks go on top of the CPUs, and you got to have thermal paste on there to have a good connection, to keep it running cool, to keep it running solid. And if Lenovo's production factory, if they didn't put the right amount of thermal paste on there or didn't put it on there right, that stuff, it heated up, it melted away to where there was none left over to kind of, harden again and keep it intact. That's what happened here with his. So the Lenovo Legion Go is having an Xbox 360 repeat era. So if you guys are looking to get this console, this handheld, if you're looking to get it, be wary. You're going to have some overheating issues. It's going to end up like the PS3 or the Xbox 360, and it's all because of how it's manufactured. If they don't put it together properly, how they do PCs and newer consoles nowadays, yes, this was expected to flop the way it did. Now, it's not a huge flop, like I said, my coworker, he's gotten in touch with Lenovo, so they're going to try to figure something out to help him out with that, because he paid $700 for this. This dude's going through college and shit. He just got a new car. He's working, but he saved up long and hard to buy this just to enjoy it for 2 weeks. And then this happened to him, and I told him, it's like, yeah, that is a common issue, when it comes to, usually consoles. But this is a miniature console. It's a handheld console. But yeah, it's a known issue. So that's what happened here. The thermal paste melted away. It's basically, you'll see some residue in there, but it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's not keeping the heat sink intact with the CPU, and that's what's causing his hardware issue. So now, he's got to figure out what Lenovo wants him to do. He's probably gonna have to mail it into them so they can fix it. Or I would be like, nah, just tell them to take it back, get a refund, or get a new one or something. Who knows? But that shit. Sending it back will take a long time. You have to probably wait like 2 months for it to come back to you if they fixed it. Just like if you go and buy a new one, you have to start everything all over again, re-download shit if you need to or whatever. Everything's a pain in the ass. But, that's why when people say if you buy a console day one, be wary. There could be issues with it, and that's the gamble a lot of these gaming companies they take, when they release, even with video games, it's a risk, even video games that release, there could be games that are online based and there's not enough servers open for people to hop in, or maybe the game's not loading in properly, just like with hardware, you buy a new PC or a new console. You go to turn it on and you're running it, and then next thing you know, it goes boom. Another example, and I hate to bring it up, Tom, you're, what the fuck were those PCs that you bought years ago that did that shit from Best Buy?
Cyberpower,
that's it. They said that these are the nicest PCs, they're cheap, they're nice, you could buy them from Best Buy, and there's some people are like, I got it home, brand new, right out of the box. I'm gaming. I'm having a time of my life. And then 2 months later, something happens. And then it's like, Dad, this fucking piece of shit stopped working for me. You had 2 of them. What were the issues with those?
The first one kept, it's like the power thing went up on it or something. And then the second one, the back fan stopped working.
That's what it was. Yeah, because you had a power.
And both times they replaced it, I noticed that it had different motherboards in it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You had a power supply issue and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we even did a whole stream. I even fucking I think you were there for that. I called CyberPower and I was asking them about that shit.
Yeah.
There was even I think one of them, it was one of them that said, oh, well, they're not really made for that. Really?
Well, if that's not what they're made for, then what the fuck were they made for?
Yeah, no. But yeah, CyberPower, like, they have mixed reviews, but, it's like I said, it's like taking a gamble, taking a risk on what you got. That's like, his CyberPower was like back in the 2000s were our E-machines. E-machines had the same issues back then too. They were put out there to kind of replace the Packard Bells. Packard Bell was already a decent brand at the time, along with Dell, HP, Gateway, IBM. We had so many fucking computer brands back in the day.
We did.
Like today.
But this is what cyber power is to me.
United together, we take a huge shit.
Yeah, that's if me and you got together and shat. There it is. One big shit. One big pile of shit. That's all it is.
Never buy a cyber power ever again.
Yeah. And definitely, I thank you for that. Just like we try to warn people around that time and said, don't buy cyber power. And I've had a couple people say they were looking at it. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Why not? And I would tell them about your issues that you had with it. And they're like, oh, yeah, I don't want to pay out too much money for a computer, though. I was like, well, sometimes paying out more money for a good computer can be a better investment in the long run. You know, because you don't want to buy a $400 or $500 computer and have it last 2 or 3 months. Because then there's even companies that are like, they give you a warranty, right? They promise you a warranty that will cover the hardware for up to 2 years, maybe 3. But then there's times where, let's say I bought a fucking cyber power piece of shit, and I got a 2-year warranty from Best Buy. And let's say I take it home and I'm using it for about 2 or 3 months, and it decides to fuck up on me, and I didn't do shit to it. Let's say I take it back to Best Buy. And let's say their staff has all changed. So, you know, they have different staff there. And I take it to customer service. I present the warranty and all. Let's say for whatever reason they deleted that shit out of their system and say, well, there's nothing here that says you bought it. There's nothing in here for that warranty. So I can look at them and say, so I just bought a $30 fucking piece of paper that says I got a warranty and you motherfuckers don't want to cover that shit? That's what I would...
See, that's how I got the Alienware, though, is... I went back to Best Buy with the second cyber power, and then they said, well, we can't send it out or anything. And it's like, well, how about we just give you what you paid for it, you know, put it towards another computer. And it's like, okay, I'm going to put it towards that Alienware over there. So that's what I did.
Yep. Something 10 times better, and ladies and gentlemen, it is still here to this day. I was looking at it yesterday. I was like, oh, hi, old friend.
I mean, yeah, it needs a new replacement for the hard drive because, you know, mechanical drives go up. But like right now, I'm talking to you from my Acer Nitro 5.
Yeah, that's your laptop, yeah.
My laptop, right? And this is far superior to my desktop right now.
Yeah. Yeah, PCs, they do have a tendency to do go up, but the best thing about having a gaming PC, which is what Tom and I have, gaming PCs, you can continue to upgrade those for years, and they'll still run like they're brand new out of the fucking box. You know, all computers have their quirks, they all have their issues, but you know, we keep them well maintained and we upgrade them every so often, and they still work fine. Like, my only issue with my computer is there's something wrong with a hard drive. I don't know what hard drive it is, but every time I restart it, it says, oh, there's an issue with this hard drive. Hit F2 to continue. And all I got to do is go into HP's settings screen, go to exit out of that, and continue the process to restart. That's it. Other than that, you know, the PCs can hold up for a good long time. And it usually depends on how well you treat them, what you use them for and all, if you keep up to date with them, and if they're a good brand. If they're a good brand, like, you know, he has Alienware. Alienware, yeah, they're expensive, but they're a good brand PC. Just like with Hewlett-Packard, I have an HP Omen. It's made as a gaming PC. Got this thing back in I got it in 2018. So it's about 5-6 years old, I want to say, somewhere around there. It still runs pretty good. I just need to get a couple sticks of memory to upgrade it to 32, you know, because like I said, I do a lot of multitasking, and if you guys happen to catch our our failed stream from the other day trying to dual stream Demonologist, Man, that took a fucking shit and a half.
Yes, it did.
I was like, well, back to the drawing board with this.
I need to upgrade the RAM in mine too. That way it'll be good from both ends.
Yeah, so definitely get that happening and all. Well, gang, it has been almost 3 hours into today's episode, and yes, I'm sadly took an hour and a half to talk about a specific somebody, but you know what? I had to do that. I had to get my last words in. Tom had to get his last words in on that. You know, so that is the very last nail in the coffin for that. Like I said, everybody, if you guys are watching now, hit that like and subscribe button down below. Follow us on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. I also will have links to Tom's channels as well if you guys want to follow him over there. Also, like I said at the beginning, tomorrow we will be live on 5 different channels. We're going to be live on 2 of Tom's channels, and we'll be live over here on YouTube and on our Twitch and on our Kick. So if you guys pick your poison where you want to listen to it at. But either way, shit, you know, bring the audience in. We're going to have a wide audience come in. So, you know, wherever you're watching us from, be sure to check tomorrow's episode of URC. We're going to have a few good things to talk about for that. It's going to be the pre-Thanksgiving show. And you know what? One topic I do want to bring up tomorrow is why a lot of people skip over Thanksgiving and go right to Christmas. We'll talk about that, and then we'll, I think we're going to also talk about, or critique, you've been wanting to critique the earlier Utter Random Crap episodes, so we can talk about that as well.
Yep.
So we got a good bit to talk about tomorrow, guys. So join us back here 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for the pre-Thanksgiving episode of Utter Random Crap. Tom, you got anything you'd like to say before we close this out?
Not really.
Alrighty. And to the rest of you guys, thank you for joining us today for this episode of Tuned In Live, the Walking Emoji. Like I said, hit that like, subscribe button, follow us on social media. If you guys want to be on a future episode of this or URC, link for the Discord is down below. Be sure you click that link. Make sure you're on Discord when you follow us. Let us know which episode you want to be on, and we will get you on there. We are welcoming all guests except for one right now, so he may get banned. But but until next time, guys, get you back here. Stay tuned in.
What we do here is go back.